Fam, it's your brother Jay in Israel. Welcome to another spicy live stream. Pull up in the chat, family. Let me know that you are here. Say peace, say hi, say shalom, say something. Do not be scared. Pull up in the chat. Let me know that you are here, family, so we can get started with tonight's live stream. Let me go ahead and check on my end. YouTube says, excellent condition. Awesome. All praises to Yah. The title of today's live stream, Precept upon Precept, Line upon Line, Explained. Open panel discussion. Yes, we are going to open up the panel momentarily. But before we get started with tonight's live stream, let me go ahead and get the announcements out of the way, family, so we can get started. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Shalom to Ema, Bithia. It's great to see you, Ema. Thank you for joining us tonight. All praises to our great King. All right, family. On screen, is a shameless plug. Yes, it is, but it's worth it. It definitely is, family. For example, this video of mine. Go into the description. Any video of mine, just go into the description and you will unlock free goodies. But before you do so, or I should say, after tonight's live stream, watch this video. My channel got monetized. Celebrate your victories. That's right, family. We have to celebrate our victories. And for me, the channel becoming monetized was a victory. All glory to our great King. So what you want to do is you want to go to the description right there and unlock your favorite 4-letter F word. Free. Free goodies. Absolutely free. Download the Lord's Prayer, Yahusha's Prayer in Hebrew, in English. Watch the video tutorial in the free PDF download. Family, I made all of these PDFs and I made all of these video tutorials. Shalom to son of Israel. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yes. I'm glad that you pulled up tonight. I'm going to make an exception for you tonight. So when I open up the panel, I'll go ahead and allow you to discuss. Let me go full screen. When the time is right, momentarily, I will open up the panel, son of Israel, and you can go ahead and give your position on DNA. You can go ahead and share your information on last night's live stream. I know that was from last night, but I'm making an exception for you. I'm looking out. So if you would like your opportunity to share your perspective on DNA, you have it. But just bear with me, because tonight we are talking about a different topic, but I am curious and interested to hear what you got to say. And thank you for joining us tonight. Now, let me go ahead and get to the announcements. Let me run through them. "30 words in Paleo Hebrew, Biblical Hebrew, and English. Video and free PDF download. Learn those 30 words, family. The 10 Commandments in Hebrew and English. Video and PDF. The Shema prayer in Hebrew and English. Video and PDF. The priestly blessing in Hebrew and English. The Benediction. You guessed it. Video and PDF. We close out the Shabbat service by reading the priestly blessing. It's a beautiful blessing. Tap in to your language. Now, if you desire to become an ambassador for Yah, you can do so with your clothing. It gets the conversation started. As you can see, I got this super cool, awesome menorah t-shirt which you can get at Kavod. Just click here in this link where it says Need Hebrew Israelite Apparel, and it's going to take you to this super awesome, this super awesome apparel brand shop. Let me go ahead and share the screen. I thought I had it pulled up already, but I didn't. We live, family. You know how we do it. Kavod, styled in legacy. Shalom, unlock 20% off your order. There should be a tab at the top. I don't see it here. I don't know why. Maybe I have to troubleshoot it. Maybe it's just on my end. However, there should be a tab at the top of the page that allows you to unlock 20% off. You go to that link and go ahead and get your 20% off. There is a plethora of clothing for women, men, and children for regular days and feast days. Praise Yah. Now, if you would like to unlock content that you will get nowhere on the internet, you can do so by subscribing to the Patreon right here. You can subscribe and unsubscribe to Patreon anytime, family, no obligation. And when you subscribe to the Patreon, you unlock digital downloads, advanced biblical teachings, and behind the scenes footage. And when you subscribe to the Patreon, you support the ministry. You can also support the ministry through Cash App, PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or the YouTube Super Chat. Family, I have a job. I have a job. If I didn't, my wife would make me get one. So what I'm saying is, I'm not a begging preacher. However, I do appreciate donations, tips, and tithes. Gotcha. See, if y'all was listening, you know we don't do tithes around here. No more locked doors. All right, family. So let's see, a couple more announcements, couple more. We getting there. Let me show you the name of yesterday's live stream where we spoke about DNA. It's on Real Talk Tuesday. Real Talk Tuesday. We go live. Let me show you. Real Talk Tuesday. We discuss topics that we can't on the Shabbat. Trinity topics, Israelite culture, wealth, health, relationships, interviews, debates, and more. Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. We go live on Real Talk Tuesday. Now, on the Shabbat day, feel free to join us. You don't have to keep the Shabbat by yourself. You can tune in and celebrate the Shabbat day with us, family. We have Shabbat service at Friday nights, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. The Shabbat word right here, family. If you desire to hear some preaching, to hear a sermon, to hear a breakdown of the scriptures and prayer, and to be inspired and encouraged to serve our great King, feel free to join us on the Shabbat word so we can celebrate our great King together. All right, last announcement, last one. Go to the homepage, scroll down past these videos, watch all these videos, and while you're watching all these videos, make sure that you subscribe to my wife and I's channel. That's horrible English. But you already know what I'm about to say. I'm from the Bay. I don't care. I'm from the Yay area. We be making up words around here. Jade and Jazz, my wife and I, we speak about trendy topics, celebrity news, Black love. It is a secular show. But as Israelites, let's be balanced. Let's not be boosie. There's some boosie Israelites out there, unfortunately, who lost their smile. So if you like to laugh, you like to have a good old time, Get your Saturday night started by joining us at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. That is Saturday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. Join us on Jaden and Jazz. All right, that completes the announcements. The name of tonight's live stream: Precept upon Precept, line upon line, explained. Open panel discussion. We hear this phrase a lot in our community. We use this phrase. We use it so that we can go throughout the Bible, throughout various scriptures, throughout the Bible, to prove a point, to prove a position. Line upon line, precept upon precept. Here a little, there a little. I'm sure you've heard that before. Sleeker family. I'm sure you've heard it from the camps. No diss, just an observation. I'm sure you've heard it in our community. Line upon line, precept upon precept. It is a way to cross-reference from scripture to scripture, whether if it's in the Old Testament to the New Testament, or the Old to the Old Testament, or the New to the New Testament. Now, what we're going to do, family, we're going to analyze where that scripture comes from, and we're going to look into the context of that scripture. Now, the information that I'm going to bring is my position. It's from my research. And I encourage us to do our own research. I encourage us to verify the teachings that we hear. Verify your brother. But make sure that you do not completely rely on what a person said. We're going to look into that phrase, line upon line, precept upon precept. What does that actually mean? Does it mean what we think it means? Which means to cross-reference throughout the Bible to prove a position. Now, before I get started with the scriptures, let me go ahead and share this slide. I think this slide right here will set the tone. Follow me, family. Let me go ahead and share this screen. There you go. Now, to set the tone, check this out. Don't take scripture out of context. Cherry picking leads to thorns, but embracing the whole orchard brings the sweetest fruit of wisdom. From yours truly. Throughout our community, I hear scriptures taken out of context all the time. It happens way too much. So let's make sure that we are not cherry picking. When we are cross-referencing, let's make sure we do not fall into the trap of cherry picking and proof texting in order to prove our point by using various scriptures that do not have nothing to do with each other. Let's not go place to place throughout the scriptures. Let's not connect scriptures that do not connect. Let's not conflate different scriptures throughout the Bible to prove our point. I see that mistake made in our community too often. So let's make sure when we're doing our research, let's not take scripture out of context. Yes, we can cross-reference, but that does not mean take scriptures out of context. That does not mean conflate a verse from the Old Testament and a verse from the New Testament. Conflate them, put them together, jam them together in order to prove your position. Let's fall away from that. Let's not go for that. All right, family, I wanted to set the tone with that. Let's be careful. Let's be meticulous with our studies. Shalom, shalom to Torah Driven. Shalom to you, fam. Thank you for joining us tonight. Torah Driven Faith, SOG, Dallas. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. We see that mistake a lot in our community. We want to prove our point so badly that we want to conflate scriptures together that do not match. Now, let's get to the scripts. Let's go to Isaiah 28. That's where we find the verse of tonight that we're going to cover. The verse of tonight, precept upon precept, line upon line, explain. Open panel discussion. Let's go to Isaiah 28. And feel free to agree or disagree with me or have a totally different opinion. It's all good. I welcome different opinions because I'm a student. I'm here to learn. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I thought I had it up. I didn't. All right. There we go. All right, family. So we find Isaiah 28, the verse of tonight. We find it in chapter 28. We find it at verse 10. We also find it again in verse 13. But before we do that, let's get context. Let's get context. Let's scroll to the top. Ephraim's captivity predicted. Woe to the crown of pride. Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat valleys, of them that are overcome with wine. Behold, Yahweh hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, shall be trodden under feet, and the glorious beauty, which is on the head of the fat valley, shall be a fading flower, and as the hasty fruit before the summer, which when he that looketh upon it seeth, while it is yet in his hand, he eateth it up. In the day shall Yahweh of hosts be for a crown of glory, and for a, I don't know how you say this, diadem, I'll roll with that, good enough for ghetto, of beauty, unto the residue of his people. Verse 5. Diadem. A beautiful wreath, it says in NIV. We'll roll with that. Verse 6. And for a spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for strength to him that turn the battle to the gate. For they also have erred through wine, and through strong drink are out of the way. The priest and the prophet have erred through strong drink. They are swallowed up of wine. No TD Jakes. If you didn't get that, laugh now, figure it out later. They are out of the way through strong drink. They err in vision. They stumble in judgments. Verse 8, for all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean. Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breasts. Here we go. Here's the verse. For precept must be upon precepts, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line. Here a little and there a little. Let's pause. Shalom, shalom to Double T, the Hebrew. What's good, King? Thank you for joining us tonight. Shalom, shalom to A. They said, question, is this live or a recording? This is live. The mistakes are absolutely free. Stay free. I'm just double checking YouTube to make sure I'm okay. Yep, YouTube says we are live. YouTube ain't lying. But welcome to the show. Hey, welcome here. Welcome. You are welcome here. All glory to Yah. All right, fam. We hear verse 10 quoted in our community all the time. If you ask me, we hear it misinterpreted all the time. For precept must be upon precepts, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, and there a little. Now, let's keep in mind the C word. Context. Verse 8 and verse 9. These verses are part of Isaiah's rebuke of the corrupt leaders and priests of Israel. He's calling out their spiritual and moral drunkenness. That's right. I was just looking at the chat, family. He's wondering what I was doing. Shalom, shalom to Marquise. Shalom, shalom to you. Shalom to Marquise. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the title of tonight's live stream. Precept upon precept, line upon line, explain. Open panel discussion. All right, let's continue. So verse 8 and verse 9. Let me scroll down a little bit. There we go. Isaiah is rebuking the corrupt leaders and priests. He's calling out their spiritual and moral drunkenness. The image of tables full of vomit. Verse 8 shows the uncleanness of their leadership. And verse 9 begins to question whether immature or mocking people like them can even receive true instruction. Oh, we're keeping in mind the C word, context, which is extremely underrated in our community. Respectfully, I mean this out of all respects. Now, let's deal with verse 10. The verse of the night. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Sounds very repetitive, don't it? Very repetitive and very strange. Keep that in mind. Verse 10 is worded in an interesting and strange way. In order to understand verse 10, let's also keep in mind verses 7 through 13, which I haven't read yet. Let me go ahead and read that right now. Verse 11, for with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. Verse 12, to whom he said, this is the rest, wherewith ye may cause to weary the rest. Oh, let me read that again. Slicker. This is the rest, wherewith ye may cause to weary to rest. And this is the refreshing. Yet they would not hear. 13. But the word of Yahuwah was unto them precepts upon precepts, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken, ensnared, and taken. Verses 7 through 13. The leaders and priests of Israel were drunk, spiritually and literally. And they were unable to teach, and they were unable to understand. Isaiah, in this portion, brings correction, but they mock his simple teaching. It's like they're saying precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. When we look at these verses 10 and 13, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, it's very repetitive. To keep it a buck, it even sounds ridiculous. Ridiculous? What you mean, Jade? Ridiculous. Follow me. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds immature. It sounds immature. Verses 10 and 13, Isaiah 28, 10 and 13, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Almost sounds like Hebrew baby talk. Remember, this is my perspective. This is my research. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just presenting information. Feel free to do whatever it is you want with it. But this verse right here, Isaiah 28 and 10, Isaiah 28 and 13, it sounds like baby talk. It sounds like Hebrew baby talk. It's almost like saying, it's like, blah, blah, blah. Do this, do that. Blase, blase. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, is like saying, blase, blase, blase. Do this, do that. Blah, blah, blah. Baby talk. Goo, goo, gaga. These verses sound like Goo goo gaga. They sound ridiculous. They sound immature. They sound like baby talk. Also, scholars would agree with what I'm saying. Scholars, many scholars, see Isaiah 28:10 as a style of mockery, sarcasm. Scholars see this phrase, line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little, as a mimicry. Mimicry. I'm going to break that down here shortly. Some of y'all wondering, what is a mimicry? Let me see. Let me go ahead and pull up a definition. Mimicry. I'll just go to Google, Oxford language. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Mimicry. Isaiah 28:10 is a mimicry. Mimicry. It's mockery. Let me show you. Let me go ahead and share it. Shalom, shalom to chambers. Shalom to chambers of logic. Shalom, shalom to you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Double T, the Hebrew. Last night was fire. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, and tomorrow, well, let me say this. If he's still in the chat, if son of Israel, if he would like to come on momentarily onto the panel, he can speak about last night's panel. Last night, he wanted to talk about DNA. He didn't get the chance, but I'm giving him a chance tonight to speak about DNA. Even though DNA is not the topic of tonight's live stream, I'm giving son of Israel the opportunity to speak about DNA. Appreciate that, Double T. Appreciate that. You know, I was a little hesitant to actually talk about DNA, to be honest with you. Why? Because I know that some of our brothers and sisters out there are real sensitive. Some of our brothers and sisters hold strong to the idea that we should get our DNA tested. But I got to speak the real. I got to keep it a buck, respectfully. Shalom, shalom to the curious Eason. That's my brother right there. What's good, King? Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm wonder, the curious, if you ever heard this phrase before. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Have you heard that before? Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Have you heard that before? That is the topic of tonight's live stream. Now, let me go ahead and share a definition of mimicry. I'm saying that this phrase, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, is a mimicry. What's a mimicry? The action or arts of imitating someone or something, typically in order to entertain or ridicule. That's a mimicry. It's mockery. The action or art of imitating someone or something, typically in order to entertain or ridicule. We see comedians do this all the time. Have you ever seen the Chappelle Show? Charlie Murphy. Cocaine's a heck of a drug. Classic episodes. Classic. Those were classics. Chappelle is an amazing comedian. I'm just giving an example of what a mimicry would be like. So when I think of a mimicry, I think of Dave Chappelle. I think of a funny comedian that's mocking somebody. The action or art of imitating someone or something, typically in order to entertain or ridicule. All right. I'm glad you like that, Imabithia. I took a chance with that one. I took a chance. Thank you. That's right, Double C the Hebrew. I'm highlighting that. Hebrew highlighter. So kind of being sarcastic. So kind of like being sarcastic. Yes, that's my interpretation. You have other scholars that are saying the same thing. You have scholars that are saying this. It's a sarcastic phrase. The way how it's worded unlike the other verses in that portion. In Isaiah 28, we read Isaiah 28, 1 through 13. But when we get to verse 10, we hear this. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line upon line, here a little and there a little. This is a mimicry. This is mockery, sarcasm. This does not mean take scriptures out of context to prove your angry point. Hello. If you're guilty of that, you know who you are. I've been guilty of that. I sure have. I've been guilty of that. I've been guilty of conflating scriptures to prove my angry point. And so have some of these camps. Respectfully, let's be careful. Let's not cherry pick. Let's not cherry pick. Let's not proof text. Let's not insert our thoughts into the scriptures. Let's not tell the scriptures what it needs to say. Let's listen to the scriptures. Let's hear the word of Yah. Faith comes by hearing the word of Yah. Don't mind my passion, family. I'm just giving some edutainment. That's all. Just edutainment. Thank you, Double T the Hebrew. Thank you, King. I'll be here all day. All right. So let's get back to it. So verse 10, we know what a mimicry is. I'll go ahead and show it one more time for those in the cheap seats. I know about some cheap seats now. In the nosebleeds, mimicry. The action or art of imitating someone or something, typically in order to entertain or ridicule. Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy. Oh man, that was so funny. I feel like I feel like watching that. I feel like watching that after this live stream. I feel like going back and watching some of those Dave Chappelle classic episodes. Oh man, the Prince imitation. Oh man, get out of here. Oh, when he dunked the basketball, when he was floating from the rim. Oh, come on, y'all. That's a mimicry. Okay, what he was doing to that basketball is a whole nother story. I'm not going to go there. You can tell I like to laugh, I like to joke. I don't mind being a goofball. But yes. This is just jokes. It's just fun. Okay, let's get back to the script. I mean, that's why we're here tonight, right? That's right. The scriptures. Okay. So verse 10 is a mimicry. It's sarcasm. Now, look how the Hebrew is written. Look how our language is written. Let's go to Isaiah 28:10. Look how it sounds in Hebrew. Kitzal, latzal, tzal, latzal, qual, la qual, qual, la qual, zair, sham, zair, sham. Does that sound like intelligent Hebrew? Family, does that sound like intelligent Hebrew? I'll read it again. I'll read this mimicry again. For precept must be upon precept. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. In English, it sounds ridiculous. But when you read it in Hebrew, Ki tzal letzal, tzal letzal, kwal lekwal, kwal lekwal, za'ir sham, za'ir sham. That sounds ridiculous. To be fair, to be respectful, it sounds immature. This sounds like baby talk. Look how it's written. Look how this is written. You see the repetition? Many brews interpret this verse to take airplane rides throughout the scriptures, jam them together to prove their points, to justify their racism, bigotry, whatever. I know some people say Hebrew Israelites can't be racist. I disagree. I beg to differ. But we use this scripture to wrongly justify the idea of conflating scriptures throughout the Bible, putting them together to prove our point. But the way this scripture sounds in English, the way this scripture sounds in Hebrew, and the way that it's written in Hebrew, I say otherwise. This is a mimicry. Shalom, shalom to Jay Will. Thank you, Jay Will. Thank you. I didn't know I was going to get anybody to agree with me tonight. Shout out to Double T, support it. Hey, you don't got to agree with me either. Here's the thing. You don't, y'all don't have to agree with me. But it's cool, it's cool that, we can see the same perspective. Absolutely. But I'm not trying to go out of my way to be disagreeable. I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to be a nuisance, or I'm not trying to be a problem, but I'm just trying to be objective and fair, and as fair as I possibly can be. And this verse doesn't mean justify racism, justify bigotry, take airplane rides and conflate scriptures to prove your point. No, this is mockery. Remember, the priests, the leaders of Israel, they were drunk spiritually and physically, literally and spiritually. They were drunk. They fell off the wagon. They were backsliding. They were mocking Yah. They were mocking Yah. They were mocking the word that Yah gave Yeshayahu, Isaiah. Shalom, shalom to Donnell Shaw. Shalom, shalom to you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Oh wow. Look at the insult. Wow. Man. You're probably thinking, why am I laughing at what you just said? I just find it extremely immature. It sounds like what you're saying right now sounds like baby talk. It sounds like line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. See what I did there? Oh man, interesting. Donnell, are you in the right room? Are you lost? I think you're lost. You're lost or confused or both. Thank you, Ema. Thank you for warning. Thank you for warning, Donnell. You can tell I like the trash talk. It's the bay in me. It's the sport in me. I don't mind it. But it's up to you, Ema. I trust you. Just like how you got rid of that bumble clot yesterday, feel free to get rid of another bumble clot. You got my word. You got it, Ema. I'm leaving that to you because I trust you. I was too lenient with that bumble clot yesterday. I was. So I admit, yeah, that was my bad for allowing him to act a fool. And you did the right thing, Ema, by kicking him out. Shalom, shalom to San Miguel TV. What's good, fam? Thank you for joining us tonight. Let me go ahead and post the topic of tonight, precept upon precept, line upon line, explain, open panel discussion. Feel free to give your thoughts. Feel free to critique what I'm saying. Feel free to give some edification, to give another perspective. I'm welcome to it. For sure, for sure. Now, let's read verse 13 again. Let's go, fam. Well, hold on. Before I do that, San Miguel TV, man, I don't know when you came in, but that's basically what I'm saying. I agree with you. I agree with you to the point where I'm going to highlight what you said. That's why I'm bringing up this scripture. Here a little, there a little does not mean jump around like the house of pain. I came to get down. I came to get down. So jump up. You see to jump around. But here's the thing. Here's why I disagree with you, San Miguel TV. We do not refer to ourselves as BHI. As much as I agree with what you said, I do not agree with the first abbreviation or the first three letters that you said. We do not refer to ourselves as BHI. And you said you used to be a BHI, a Black Hebrew Israelite. That's what BHI stands for. We do not call ourselves that. That's what other people call us. That's what they label us. For you to say that you used to be a BHI, I just find that interesting. Because if you used to be a BHI, you know that we do not call ourselves that. Let's be objective. Let's keep it a buck now. But I do agree that many of our family, they take here a little, there a little out of context. They use it to justify bigotry. They use it to justify hate. But this verse, here a little and there a little, precept upon precept, line upon line, is a mimicry. It's mockery. And let's deal with verse 13 to further establish that point. And by the way, San Miguel TV, we call ourselves Israelites or Hebrew Israelites. But Black Hebrew Israelites, no, that's what others do to label us, to marginalize us. The same way how others did the Nation of Islam in the 60s. They called them Black Muslims. The same thing is happening today. We are being mislabeled Black Hebrew Israelites. We don't have to do that. But that's just out of love. It's out of love for you. That's right. That's right. All right, fam. Now, verse 13, let me go ahead and bring it on screen. As we already said, verse 10 right here, this sounds ridiculous. It looks ridiculous in Hebrew and in English. But verse 13 further establishes the point that this phrase, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, is mockery. It's a mimicry. Verse 13 says, but the word of Yahuwah was unto them, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they may go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. This has nothing to do with jumping around the Bible, taking airplane rides to conflate points, to conflate scriptures to prove your point. This verse is not saying that. Verse 13. So instead of helping them, Elohim lets them choke on the simplicity of his word as a form of judgments. Why? Because they rejected it. That's why. Many teachers look at this phrase to explain that this is mockery. In Isaiah's original context, Isaiah 28:10. Isaiah 28, 1 through 13. Specifically, verses 10 through 13. Line upon line, precept upon precept. Here a little, there a little. The context, this was mockery. This phrase, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, is mockery. These verses highlight how hard-headed people ridicule or resist Yah's word. In other words, the word of Yah sound like baby talk to the foolish, to the drunkard, and as a result, they were punished for mocking Yah. If you mock Yah, Yah will punish you. Yah don't play that. But the word of Yahuwah was unto them precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they may go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. When we consider the context, we have to ask a variety of questions, fam. A variety of questions. We have to consider who is speaking? Who are they speaking to? What just happened before and after? In Isaiah 28, we find Isaiah is rebuking drunk priests and leaders, verses 7 and 8. Then suddenly, we get the repetitive, almost childish precepts upon precepts, verse 10. Later, in verse 13, Yah turns their mockery back on them as judgments. It was dissing Yah with those words. They thought the joke was on the Creator. They got it twisted. The joke was on them. Verse 13. Yah don't play that. Yah turned their mockery back on them as judgment. This is like saying, if you're going to mock Yah, Yah is going to mock you and he's going to punish you. Now, when we're reading chapter 28 and we get to verse 10 and verse 13, the flow, it shows something ironic or sarcastic is happening. A sign of mimicry or mockery. We define mimicry already. It's mockery. It's the action or art of imitating someone or something, typically in order to entertain or ridicule. So the repetition of line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. We see the sarcasm, the mockery. We hear that it sounds like baby talk. It sounds like immature babbling. Hebrew highlighter. Where's my Hebrew highlighter? Bam. right here. For a precept must be upon precepts, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. This phrase sounds like nonsense. It sounds like gibberish. That's right. And when you look into the Hebrew, it looks like gibberish. And when you hear it read in Hebrew, tzal latzal, tzal latzal, qual laqual, qual laqual, za'ir sham, za'ir sham. It sounds like gibberish. Now, Isaiah 28:13. As we close, I'm going to open up the panel for those who like to come on. Let's go to verse 13. But the word of Yahuwah was unto them, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they may go, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. The joke was on them. They was trying to play with God. They was trying to joke. They was trying to mock God. But in verse 13, Yah mocked them, and the joke was on them. The joke's on you, Jack. I just wanted to say that. Verse 13, Yah is letting them stumble over what they mocked. This is a powerful form of poetic justice. Verse 11, for with stammering, so I got stammering lips. Here we go. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. This verse connects to Cyrus, to King Cyrus, who was a Messiah. Did you know that? There's not only one Messiah. There's multiple Messiahs. Now I know I'm being extra, but I'm really not. When I say multiple Messiahs, in Hebrew, King Cyrus was called a Mashiach. He's not Hamashiach, the Messiah. Yahusha Hamashiach. Yahusha is Hamashiach. He's the Messiah. However, King Cyrus was called in the scripture a Messiah, a Mashiach. Isaiah 28:11 connects to King Cyrus. Foreign language as judgment. Cyrus as Elohim's instrument. Isaiah 45 calls Cyrus Elohim's anointed, using him to punish Babylon and free Israel. But before Cyrus, Israel first had to endure the Assyrians and Babylonians, fulfilling Isaiah's warning. We also hear the Apostle Paul reference this verse We've heard Apostle Paul reference Isaiah 28:11. Explaining how foreign tongues were a sign of judgment. So, the foreign tongue, another tongue. Whoops, my bad, family. Whoops, there we go. Okay. So, the foreign tongue, let me go ahead and highlight that verse again. Bam, there we go. Stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. The foreign tongue could refer to Cyrus, but also the earlier Assyrians and Babylonians who first disciplined Israel before Cyrus restored them. Also, we see a reference in Ezra chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. Cyrus and the decree to restore Israel. Let me go ahead and go there. I'll just go to Isaiah 45. I'll just show it. God uses Cyrus right here, family. It says, thus saith Yahweh to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I had holden, to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two-leaved gates, and the gates shall not be shut. It says in Hebrew, right here, family, Kol Amar Yahweh, Lim Shicho. Thus said Yahweh to Messiah his. This word right here is Messiah. Mashiach. 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 If you don't believe me, check it out. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Let me go ahead and run that back. Sorry, family, I apologize. Let me go ahead and run that back real briefly. I don't know when I went out, but basically what I was saying is that, let's go back. Let me go back. Let's see. My bad, fam. Right here. Okay, cool. I'm not pressing the wrong button now. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully we're good. Okay, so what I'm saying is that verse 11, Isaiah 28, verse 11, for with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. This verse connects with King Cyrus. Cyrus was the king of Persia. This verse right here, Isaiah 28:11, it is used as foreign language as judgment. It is, and King Cyrus was used as God's instrument. Isaiah 45 calls Cyrus God's anointed, using him to punish Babylon and free Israel. But before Cyrus, Israel first had to endure the Assyrians and Babylonians, fulfilling Isaiah's warning. Also, Paul references this verse in 1 Corinthians 14:21. Paul quotes Isaiah 28:11, explaining how foreign tongues were a sign of judgments. The foreign tongue could refer to Cyrus, but also to earlier Assyrians and Babylonians, who first disciplined Israel before Cyrus restored them. So let's go to Isaiah 45. Okay, good. Sorry about that, family. Now we good. We Gucci now. Okay. So King Cyrus was called a Messiah. That's right. Thus saith Yahuwah to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I had holden, to subdue nations before him. And I will loose the loins of kings to open before him the two leaf gates, and the gates shall not be shut. It says anointed, but what does our language say? Open up the tools. Our language says, Kodamer Yahuwah, Lim Shicho Le Koresh. Right here. Mashiach. This is Messiah.
Strong's H 4899. Mashiach.
That's right, family. All right. So now let's go to Ezra chapter 1. One and 2. Aliyah. Cyrus's proclamation. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of Yahuwah by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. Yahuwah stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, Yahuwah Elohim of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. So, Isaiah 28, verse 11 can refer to King Cyrus. Cyrus was a foreigner, yet he was a Mashiach, a Messiah. He was used by Yah. There are multiple Messiahs. It's not only one Messiah. Now there's the Messiah, Yahusha HaMashiach. He's the Messiah. But to be technical, there's more than one Messiah. There's multiple Messiahs. So King Cyrus is the fulfillment. It can be seen as a fulfillment of Isaiah 28:11. God speaking to Israel through a foreign tongue. We see the Syrians, Babylonians, foreign tongues. King Cyrus, foreign tongue. So we see the connection in Ezra chapter 1 and in Isaiah chapter 45. Ezra chapter 6 confirms that the temple was rebuilt by decree of Cyrus, Darius, Artaxerxes, all foreign kings. Also, this fulfills Deuteronomy 32:21, where Elohim says, he'll provoke Israel with a foolish nation, letting Gentile rulers carry out his will. So, Cyrus was part of the fulfillment of Isaiah 28:11. Let's go back to Isaiah 28:11. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. Verse 12, to whom he said, this is the rest wherewith ye may cause to weary to rest, and this is the refreshing. yet they would not hear. But the word of Yahuwah was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they may go, that they might go and fall backward and be broken, ensnared, and taken. So that is my position on precepts upon precepts, line upon line, here a little and there a little. It's a mimicry. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little is a mimicry. It's sarcasm. It's mockery. All right, family. So that's my explanation. Feel free to do whatever that you want to do with it. I'm here to be fair, objective, and respectful. But I just encourage you to not lump scriptures together that have nothing to do with each other. Let's not conflate scriptures. Let's not take scriptures out of context. Yes, we should cross-reference, but when we cross-reference scriptures, let's make sure that we do it carefully. We do it systematically. We take our time with it. We understand the context of what we're reading. All right, all right. So I'm going to open up the panel. Okay, Yosef, you're acting the same way that you were acting yesterday. I thought you were going to do better today. I don't know what it is about this channel or about what you see in our community that is getting under your skin. Based on your actions, based on your words, I don't get the impression that you keep Torah. Because if you did, if you keep the Tanakh, if you kept the Tanakh, why are you causing division? Why are you stirring up arguments? Yeah, Yosef's totally off topic. He says, you're full of pride and ego. You can't handle someone telling you you don't understand Hebrew. He's just being disrespectful. I don't know what I did to this brother. I don't even know this brother. We showed him the hospitality of Abraham yesterday. Oh, yes, we did. We showed him the hospitality of Abraham. But I get the impression that he's filled with pride. I don't get the impression that he's filled with humility. Checking the chat. I know it's a little long-winded, family. I was just going in, giving my position. What I'm saying is that we can't use precept upon precept, line upon line. We can't use this as a reason to take scriptures out of context. Let's not prove text. Let's not conflate scriptures. We don't have to do that. I encourage us not to do that. All right, I'm just looking at the chat, family, wondering what I'm doing. All right, let me go ahead and grab the link. Join the panel here. All right, family. So here is your opportunity. If you'd like to come on the panel, you can do so. Now, I don't know if he's still in the chat, but son of Israel, if you'd like to come on, you can do so right now. Let me go ahead and put the link. I thought I put it on screen. I didn't. Here we go. Join the panel here. So if you'd like to come on, son of Israel, if you'd like to talk about DNA, you can do so. Now, I like to stay on topic, but I made an exception for son of Israel. Oh, you dismissed him, Imabiti? Who'd you dismiss? Yosef? Man, that dude was tripping. I don't know what his problem was. Man, that dude was on. He was on one. No, excuse me, he was on two. But I gotta do the right thing. First, I gotta do the right thing before I let you on. All right. Welcome to the panel, Yosef, Yehuda.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. Welcome to the panel. What's on your mind, fam?
Just a general principle in terms of your espousing great knowledge. In terms of the knowledge, one of the things that often gets to me is that when we, as and I consider myself a Jew, but when we as Jews or Hebrews or Hebrew Israelites continue to use the Christian framework of the Bible and its lack of context and how it's related to your topic, is that um, not saying somebody needs to be a master of Hebrew, but if you actually use the Tanakh and not the Christian Old Testament, the context is already off from the moment that you begin, because, for example, it doesn't have the breaks. So talking about here a little, there a little, line upon line, the verses, chapters and verses were created by Christian printers in the Middle Ages. They don't reflect the actual spacing and syntax that's actually on the scrolls. You can actually see the syntax on the scrolls if you use any Hebrew Tanakh, the parashiot, the parashas that break up the section. That's the breaks in terms of knowing the context. But we often are caught in this Christian framework of like what the context is. And one other big larger point related to it is you got Hebrew Israelites, Jews, and Hebrews still reading the Old Testament instead of the Tanakh. And a lot of people sometimes don't miss the point. But the point is that the context is designed so that we end with the book of Malachi. That's what the Christians do, because they want to end with the rebukes against Israel instead of what the Tanakh is, in which it ends with Chronicles, which is a story of escalation where we're going to build the temple back. We're not being condemned, we're being praised, and we're restoring God. And there are no lack in the prophecies. They have to design the scripture in such a way that they need something to close it out, but that's not actually even the order that Jesus himself would have followed or Yeshua would have followed. You know what I mean? He says, I come not to destroy the law, the prophets. He talks of the laws, the prophets of writings. Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim, Tanakh. That's his order.
Well said, Yosef. Now, I agree. A lot of our family, a lot of our Hebrew Israelite family, we left Christianity, but we brought a lot of Christianity mindset and concepts into the awakening. Um, I would say we have to be patient with our family. Not everybody is aware of the information that you just brought out. Just the fact that you said the Tanakh, the Torah, the Nevi'im, the Ketuvim. A lot of us Brews don't even know what we're talking about or what you were referring to, because we've been so Christianized. And I think we just have to be patient, with our family. A lot of us are just waking up, and we have to make sure that we show love and patience and diplomacy. But yes, I noticed in the Hebrew Israelite community, sometimes it's hard to even know if I'm really speaking to an Israelite or a Christian. And I remember a friend of mine, he said this. This was on a conversation that we had on the phone. This Stephen Graham. Stephen Graham said this to me. This is his quote. As much as I want to steal it, I can't. It's his quote. He said that a lot of Hebrews are Christians with Hebrew names.
Yeah.
He said a lot of us are Christians with Hebrew names. We have brought a lot of Christian concepts into the awakening. So yes, you brought up a great point. And one of those concepts is the idea of using Isaiah 28:10 to conflate scriptures, to take airplane rides, to go all throughout the Bible, to connect scriptures that do not connect in order to prove our position.
Yeah.
Well
And
said.
and one of the things I wanted to add to it is like one of my biggest frustrations, and I thank you for saying I should be patient. um, is that there should be brothers like you. Like when you see brothers like talking, the brothers who have like the mouthpiece often associated with the Hebrew Israelites, they never have a brother who's on your level of knowledge. You know what I mean? It's like, shouldn't there be somebody with the camp who like has your kind of knowledge of Hebrew, has your overall understanding of the scripture? It's like they espouse that same thing you're talking about of, jumping all around. What'd you call it? Jump around. It's just like they only got those guys, you know what I mean? And they might be the mixers on the table, but we're the wise brothers who are with them who can like really espouse, break down the Hebrew and really knowledge. I mean, are they still doing milk for like 60 years or so? Like, how often are they going to keep doing with the same milk? Where's the learned brothers like you that like how come they don't have that? It's like I'm thankful for the internet because we can have brothers like you now with the internet, but like they're sitting there shouting on the corners, but they saying the same stuff they've been saying for like 50 years now. I just don't get it. Same scripture pattern too. If you notice, it's like about the same 75 scriptures. If you know the 75, you can do it. You know what I mean? You can put it on a remix. You know what I mean? Have Drake do it for you. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing.
You cook it. I got a here's a ghetto shofar blast. I don't have a real one, so you cooking. That's right. It's the same old scriptures. And sometimes you can predict them. Sometimes you can predict the next scripture that's coming out, especially when some of our brothers on the camps are dealing with Gentiles or some of our own people that are unbelievers or whatnot. But first I gotta say I'm just thankful for the compliments that you said. Like I'm really humbled by that. Thank you. Um, I'm just on this journey of learning. I'm just trying to learn every day, and I'm a student. And I just like to say that Yosef, that I have great teachers. One of my teachers that I listen to, that I learned from, is Nasik Jarishadai ben Yehuda. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a legend in our community. He's been an Israelite for a long time. He's been in knowledge itself for a long time. He was a part of B'nai Zakane, which is a legendary Hebrew congregation.
Yep.
But I like to say that I have great teachers. And I have a plethora of teachers. I've learned from, Abdiel Ben Lewy, Zion Lex, Ron Shields, Divine Prospect, a DCB, the DCB congregation, the Akak Mabina out in Brooklyn. I learned a lot. So I have a variety of teachers, but I'm just really humbled by that. Thank you. Thank you. But I hear what you're saying. I wish like we could see that in the camps where we could see some, for lack of a better word, evolution. Like
Yes.
let's see some growth here. Like just
Yes.
keep saying the same old talking points. Man,
Yeah. What a day. We'll be the end time for real. Yeah, it's and it's like the other thing that I really like about you, brother Israel, Jayden Israel, is that a lot of those camps they haven't really mastered or structured or learned the actual Hebrew or the understanding, so they use the they lose the Lashon Quadash to hide their lack of knowledge of Hebrew. But it's like if you know Hebrew, you can go to the Lashon Quadash in like 5 seconds because it's really like I call it Kaiser Ivrit, pig Hebrew, because all they did was do the op on every single vowel. I mean, it's not like, you know what I mean? So it's like, come on, brothers. It's like, you can't get but so far if you didn't actually, you don't have any grammar, you don't have any knowledge. So like this verse that you're educating us with, it's gibberish. It's like telling you it's gibberish, but if you don't know Hebrew, you don't know that it's making fun of it. It's like ga, 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 ga. It's like really doing that. It's like literally trying to make a sound that sounds like a baby, but they don't know it. They don't know enough. I mean, they don't even know that word for that's being translated as precept is just the word for command, the normal word for command. That first, translation of making that precept, you got to put that in context, just like you've done. And I don't know, their whole everything. Like, I really appreciate you bringing this to light, because I mean, I would say that this is the core verse. This is the verse. This is the verse. It's the head of the snake. It's the verse of which the whole philosophy is based. You know what I mean? So I'm glad you decided to tackle this one.
yes, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Yosef. And this wasn't like the first time I came across this. Like I've heard other teachers of mine bring this out. So I'm just double checking the information that they brought out, and look into it. And yeah, I'm coming to the same conclusion. But yes, we misinterpret this verse a lot, and it's a shame. It's a real shame. And you brought up a good point. You said that was a good point. A precept being a command. That was
Mhm.
that was great. Thank you for bringing out that edification, because I didn't actually bring that up. I actually didn't go and explain what each word means, a line upon line, precept upon
Yeah.
precept. I didn't actually go to the lexicon, but I'm glad that you brought that out.
Yeah.
And yes, La Shuwan Quadash. Now, sometimes you hear me say it. Sometimes, like I will refer to the Creator as Yahweh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and the reason why, though, to be brutally honest, it's to build a connection
Sure.
with our brothers and sisters that are not aware of Hebrew. Like, because a lot of us heard about the awakening from the camps, that's what we're taught. We're taught that the real Hebrew is Lashawan Kudash. So knowing that most of our brothers and sisters are familiar with Lashawan Kudash, I'm speaking in terms where we can relate on. I'm building a rapport. So I say Yahweh, you hear me say Yahweh
Yeah.
Shai.
Yeah.
I say that to build a connection. But after we build that connection, let me go ahead and share. Well, we could say, Yahusha or Yehoshua or Yeshua.
Yeah.
We want to say the Messiah. So like I like to build that connection, but then like while we're doing that, hey, well, we could pronounce the creator's name Yahuwah or Yahweh or Yahweh. So I just try to use that to build a bridge. And
Yeah, in full disclosure, I do the same thing. So I'll go like shalom or in your language shalom. You know what I mean? I'll do that. You know what I mean? But it's really easy to do. That's the thing. It's like, but you know, and all the names and so forth. My problem is when you get a wall, because once you say something that they don't know, then they're like, oh, well, that's that Yiddish, or it's something like that, and it's like, no, it don't have anything to do with Yiddish, because if you know Yiddish, you know that it's not structured this way. You know what I mean? And there's certain letters and things in Lashon, you know, Hakwadash, that derive from Yiddish that they don't realize. You know what I mean? And it's like, so it's like, no, but it's good. I totally agree with you. You gotta make the bridge, and before you like build some of them up, you gotta make the bridge, because some of them are very, very fiery. Like I'm sure, like if one of them hears this lesson that you're teaching, they're gonna just be like, oh no, you you're butchering it or something. I don't know what they could do actually, because what you've talked about is pretty strong. You can't really, there's not really anywhere you could go, because I think what you did, which I had never seen before, was see, I'm just used to it being knocked out on its face value at 28:10. In full disclosure, I didn't pick up on, I think you showed me 28:13 it was, in which not only was it being mocked, but then a few verses later, the mockery was turned back on its head. So it's like you can't really do nothing with that. It's very obvious that it's a mockery, because it got the fire was shot back at the person again. So what can you
nailed
do?
it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. You nailed it. Nailed it. You nailed it, Yosef. That's right. One more time. That's right. Like what we say, when the joke is on you, like we say, you mock the Most High is going to mock you and punish you. That's what it's saying. You nailed it. And what I like to say is with Lashon Kodash. Now, yeah, I prefer the biblical Hebrew. Like when I'm reading Hebrew, I prefer to read in the biblical Hebrew. But I just wanted to reiterate that point again, because we do have brothers and sisters in the chat and who are listening who speak Lashon Kodash. Now, Lashon Kodash, to his credit, does have the same Hebrew consonants.
Yes.
It's the same 22/23 letters. I mean, we want to give or take, and it's technically 22, but shin and sin interchangeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interchangeable, but I mean, we'll just say 22 just to be safe. Now, it's the same letters, but it's the vocalization of the vowels is what's different. And to your point, it's mostly the long A sound. It's the ah. And then also they have like the I sound, like with Yahusha. So it's pretty easy to catch up on. It's pretty easy to learn. But I did an extensive video on that on my Patreon. The reason why is because if I would have spoke about my true feelings towards the Lashon Kodash on YouTube, I don't know. I think there'd be a lot of sensitive brews coming at me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it, because I've experienced that. I've experienced Hebrew saying that I read Yiddish. I'm speaking Yiddish. That's not the real Hebrew. I've heard those insults before, but I think that I wanted to reserve my honest assessment of Lashon Kodash on the Patreon, just for the sake of trying to trying to stay more on unity and building some unity here, because that's hard to do within our community. We're extremely divided in the awakening. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and save my thoughts towards Lashon Kodash. As much as I want to speak on it, Yosef, as much as I want to just keep it all the way 100, I'm just going to leave it for the Patreon. And then for those who are interested, they can check it out themselves. Or if you look hard enough, you'll find the information. You'll find information out there.
And I respect that. And I would say, in full disclosure, like getting a little humble, if they can structure Lashon Kodash as like a pure dialect, a true dialect of Hebrew, they got the grammar right. They can use words, they can use expressions, they can actually speak, they can break down the language and so forth. Like, I think there's a brother who does a form of pronunciation in Hebrew that I don't necessarily agree with, but he's taken the time to learn the grammar. I think his name is Black Raven or something like that I've seen online. I can't slight the brother. I disagree with his pronunciation, but it's a pure dialect. He's created a pure dialect. That's not happened in Lashon Lashawan Kwadash. And that's my, they, if somebody breaks it down, understands how they're going to handle matrix lesiones and like various different elements and so forth, how the ayin is actually particularly structured, like if they, get into the actual understanding of how was Tazah derived, you know what I mean? Like these sort of elements, if they like really break it down, I'm not here to try and slight anybody's particular dialect. It's just what's developed now is it's in the early nascent stage, and I'm kind of honest about that. But at the same time, I don't want to take what I'm saying. I'm like you. I don't really want to take what I'm saying as a true insult of it. But I do have to be honest. It is very premature. I'd be the first one to use it if they had more developed, more maturity, more of a linguistic like structure to it.
Well said. And man, I agree. I agree. As much as I want to just speak on it, I'm still in a reserve.
Okay.
My deep feelings, but man, I agree with you. Like for sure, for sure. But on the flip side, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes it sounds pretty cool. Sometimes it
Yes.
sounds pretty dope. Like Yahweh. I think that that's the name of the creator. The name of the creator.
Sure,
There's no
absolutely.
name above the creator. But just sometimes like certain words in Lashwan Kudash sound pretty cool. They sound pretty dope. But I will say this: sometimes you will confuse words too.
Yes.
I'll give one example. It's like the word day and the word see.
Yes.
If you say yam, are you talking about the day or are you talking about the sea?
Yes.
Because it sounds the same. Like we say yam. Like yam in biblical Hebrew is sea. Like the sea. Like as in a body of water.
Yeah, exactly.
But yom is day in Hebrew. But if you were to pronounce it in Lashwan Kudash, would you say yam? And if you say yam, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the day or are we talking about the sea?
Yeah. And the thing about it is
Yeah.
that's what I was saying about that. If you get the Matrix Lecionis down, because then you can go, oh, well, if there was ever a holum in a word, then even whether or not it's written or not, I'm going to put it as a wow, and then it's always yawam. Even if it's not an actual wow there, I know to go yawam because that's a holum, and that's the distinction between the word for day and the word for sea. But they haven't done that. It's like they haven't done the work. Like habasham, when they say habasham, that doesn't make sense because in actual Hebrew, the separation is bishim or basham. So you wouldn't have to put a ha there, but it's like they're just somebody didn't do the work. It's like you could make a dialect from it. It's just, but it's not there yet. It's just too easy. Or one very important one is, are we not supposed to eat fat and meat? Halev, basar, or are we supposed to not eat milk and meat? Halav basar. You see what I'm saying? That's a quintessential point you're not supposed to cook the calf in his mother's fat or the mother's milk, because both are halav in Lawash, you know what I mean? So it's like they got to get that together because it's not going to work.
I had to make sure I was on mute. I was over here losing it. Man, nailed it. And you're giving them too much, they'll say. If you're giving them too much, you're talking about the whole lamb and you going in, you going all the way in. Fat.
No, but it's just excellent vibing with a brother like yourself, and somebody who's like, I see you as somebody who's like really like living this, really like growing in this, really learning in this. Sometimes, look, I'm not talking about any one particular brother or anything like that, but sometimes I feel as though it's more of a show than it is the actual learning, because it's like there's certain things. Like I'll be perfectly honest. There's been times I've seen a camp. I walked by, camp said something to me or whatever. I said, well, who's your people who actually know Hebrew? They're like, nobody really knows Hebrew. It's like, because I'll say something like, Mashalom cha, Hakol Beseder, something like that. And then they can, oh, that's Yiddish. And I go, oh, okay. Mashalom cha, ha kawol basadar. And they'd be like, I was like, dude, that's y'all, that's your language. You should be able to know your own stuff. And then when they get the loophole there, that's when they have to go, oh yeah, we believe. And see, this is the other beauty of what you're bringing out in this lesson. They then go to Isaiah 28:11 with a stammered speech and da-da-da-da-da, you know what I mean? So we're not supposed to really know Hebrew. It's like, that's what they do. That's their comeback for that. So like your lesson, the beauty of your lesson isn't just the Isaiah 28:10, it's also the Isaiah 28:11, because that Isaiah 28:11 comes right after, because 28:10 is why you jump around, and Isaiah 28:11 is how come you don't know Hebrew really. And there you go. So it's like those two are like I said, you're at the top of the spear, the head of the snake when you in these verses, my opinion, in these verses that you're dealing with tonight.
Like, man, I'm just very, very humbled by that. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And Hebrew is not an easy language to tap into. I mean, we're tapping back into our language. We're learning our language again. It's not easy, but I really desire for our people, for all people, not just our community, the Hebrew Israelite community, but all people, because you're gonna be able to understand the Bible on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And like the Hebrew is so much gems in Hebrew that you don't get in English. I love the Hebrew language, and I just I'm looking forward to our community tapping into Hebrew and just taking our language back and just thinking about the words and what they mean and just speaking the language and singing the language and praying in the language. It's levels to Hebrew, but Lashwan Kodash, I mean, hey, it may be training wheels, but at least our people are learning the 22 letters
Sure.
of the Aleph Beit. At least we're tapping into the letters. So yeah. I mean, I it's so much like there's that side of me, like, man, I feel what you're saying for sure. Like,
Yeah.
I wish we can like just elevate like a little faster. Like let's tap into our language. But I desire for our people to tap in to our language. And we got some powerful teachers in our community.
Yes.
And I desire to teach Hebrew here in the future as well. I don't have a date for it, but I have it in the works. I don't want to like I don't want to overpromise and under deliver, but I do have it in my plans to teach a biblical Hebrew. And
Yeah.
I think that would help our people. And there's other teachers out there right now, like Zion Lex. You can go to Zion Lex and learn Hebrew. He's a great teacher.
Yeah.
And there's other teachers as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
you put the nail, what's it, the nail on the head, I think that's the phrase. It's all your elders, right? Your elders came to you with knowledge and said you need to learn and you teach. I think you said B'nai Zakan. I think that's what you said. Your elders come from, right?
Well, B'nai Zakan, my elder that I listen to every Shabbat.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Zurishadai Nasik. His name is Nasik,
Mm-hmm.
as in like Prince.
Yeah.
Nasik Zurishadai bin Yehuda. He's from the original B'nai Zaken, which is
Yeah.
a legendary Israelite congregation, and I just learned so much from him, from Nasik Zurishadai. He's still teaching today. Like I listen to him
Yeah.
every Shabbat. He's a seasoned veteran in the game.
Yeah.
He's been around, but he still got it. He's just a great teacher because he gives like gems from the Torah scroll.
Yeah.
Like he will mention things that you will not hear other Hebrews mention. Like he'll talk about like how the Aleph is like extremely small at the end of
Yep.
the first word of
Vayikra.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
You finished my sentence. Yes, and yes, and he just wants us to ponder over it and think. He wants us like he like teaches us to like ask questions, investigate the scriptures, do our own darash, our own investigation, and like he like motivates us to like arrive to our conclusion, just like to do our research. But just mentioning the small aleph at the end of Vayikra and he called, which is the translation, but that's
Yep.
where we get numbers.
Yeah.
They say it's numbers, but it's really Vayikra, which means and he called, which is
Yeah.
the book of Numbers. But just noticing that those little small, those little nuggets that are found in the language, it's just fascinating to see that. So like, yeah, Zurishadai, I mean, I listen to him all the time. He's really helped my teaching. He's really helped my learning. So
Yeah.
But yes, but go ahead. I cut you off. I just
No, because
wanted
I
to
was
get a
saying that
little.
that's the foundational point that you've already made out. It's all about the elders that taught you. A lot of these camps, I'm not seeing the elders. It's like just the young ones. Because like if I think about my elders made sure you start out, you have to learn the Hebrew. You can't just be like out there reading the English. You got to like know the Hebrew. So like my elders are like Kol Yaakov Israel and Yehuda Israel, and you might know them more as they're the ones who wrote from Babylon to Timbuktu. So it's like these elders are actually out there and they're actually building up people who like have the foundation to actually educate the next generations and so forth. But I mean, it's so many of these camps, and it's just like where are their elders at? That's like instilling in them some growth of knowledge behind, more of the information. And again, I'm not saying I'm slighting the camps or whatever. There's a lot of good brothers in camps or whatever. You know what I mean. You said it from the beginning. I'm just a little impatient.
Okay, well, I might have not said that. I might have inferred that, but I didn't say that. I might have, in a friendly way, maybe inferred that. But yeah, I mean, I know it's hard. I know it's hard because I mean, I get Hebrew Israelites coming at me from time to time.
Yeah,
I get it. I get the Hebrew on Hebrew
yeah,
hatred, but it's part of it, though. It's part of it. It's all from
yeah,
Yah, in my opinion. Like Yah allows the hate to come our way to strengthen us.
yeah.
Like
I'm
Yah,
like,
to me, Yah's in control of everything. He's in
yes,
control of everything. Where in
yeah,
Christianity, God is just love and that's it. But no, I mean, Yah sent that evil spirit upon King Saul.
yes,
Yah's in control of everything. That's a
yes,
side topic, but I just wanted to mention that Yah is supreme.
yeah,
Yah reigns.
absolutely. And it's like the natural man part of me is like, it's been 3 generations now. Why the children don't know it? You know what I mean? It's like maybe the some of the older generation never picked it up, but some of them, like we just talked about, some of these zakanim, they do know it. But like a lot of them, let's say some of them didn't learn. Okay, cool. Well, maybe their children learn it. Maybe their children's children learn it. You know what I mean? When a third generation is like, nobody's writing Torah scrolls. Nobody's, you know what I mean? I can't go to nobody I can't go to a camp and say, hey, can you write my mezuzah for me? Like, what's up with that? Like, why isn't that, like, you know what I mean? Like, where's this like growth, the direction actually going? I mean,
That's Jewish. Missouri, that's Jewish. What you mean? That's Jewish. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
and then at which
I
time,
don't believe
see,
that.
let's see, at which times I go, what's it that would be Mazawazawa, right? You know what I mean? It's like,
Oh
okay, well, what
boy.
about that?
Oh man. Man. Hey, this is kind of a sidebar. This is kind of off topic, but you brought up the mezuzah, which is found in the was it Deuteronomy 6?
Yep.
It's 6:4-9. I'm forgetting
Yeah.
what verse it's in. Yes,
Yep.
you put a mezuzah at the door, but
8
like
and
a
9,
lot of
but
us
yep.
don't know. Yes, I'm trying to figure out. But what I wanted to say is that I remember I bought a mezuzah from a Jewish man in San Francisco.
Yep.
This is crazy. My wife and I we were in like a little antique store. He was the owner of the store, and there was a plate, and on the plate there was the 10 commandments or the 10 words written
Sure.
in Be'ivrit, written in Hebrew,
Yep.
right? And my wife and I were looking at it. We're like, we were like really amazed to see it. We felt good to see it. I was like, it's pretty nice. It was a nice plate. I mean, it was very expensive. I was going to buy it, but I mean, it looked really nice. But I saw the Hebrew, and then what we was reading the Hebrew. I was reading the Hebrew, the commandments. I was reading the 10 commandments in Hebrew, and the store owner comes over, and he was like, "Man," he's like, "I haven't heard nobody read Hebrew like that in a long time."
Yeah.
He was like, "Wow," he's all like, he gave me a really nice compliment. He also too was trying to get a sell out of me. I saw what he was trying to do. He was trying to be slick, and it works because I ended up buying something from him. But he gave me a nice compliment. I saw what he gave me a compliment, but I knew what it was because I peep game. I'm from the Bay, so. But I like the hustle though, because he comes over. He's like, "Man, I haven't heard nobody read Hebrew like that in a long time." When knowing he's in San Francisco, you got a Jewish community in San Francisco, so I know he was, over exaggerating. But I like the attempt though. I like the attempt. I like the hustle, and he was just telling me how his family is of Jewish background, and I'm telling him I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I
Yeah.
told him I'm a Hebrew Israelite. My wife and I we're Hebrew Israelites, and we had a a pretty cool conversation. And this is before I even bought anything in the store. But as I left the store, I bought the mezuzah, and I actually have one. So I have that mezuzah. It's actually, I don't have it on my doorpost, but I kept it, like I stashed it away as like a little souvenir, something to keep, as a memory. But it was a good dialogue, a good conversation that I had with him in the store. So, and it wasn't just like, hurry up and buy something to get out of my store. It was like, we were having a good conversation about the Torah and, about, him being, Jewish and us being Israelites. And it was Passover. Passover was coming around the time of Passover, and, he wished us a happy Passover, and we did the same to him. But it's just to show that, I think that there could be a bridge between Hebrew Israelites and the Jewish community. And I think that as Hebrew Israelites, I think we need to be the light. I think we need to be, I mean, you find that in the New Testament. I don't know how you feel about the New Testament, but, Yahusha says we have to be the light. We got to remember that, there's one Torah for the homeborn and the stranger.
Yep.
And that, Torah is for everybody, and that salvation is for everybody. And I know I went a lot. I know I said a lot, but
and I agree with
I'll
it.
pass it right back to you.
I agree with everything you said. I mean, we're not really my community. We're not like Barita Kadasha, like in terms of like, let me explain it the right way. It's like we look at the text, we examine the text, we learn a lot from the text, but we don't believe there's any new commandment in the text. So
yes,
it's like
yes.
edifying.
Nothing changed. Nothing was new. Everything was
Yeah.
In my opinion, the Messiah didn't change nothing.
Yeah. My favorite thing is, my favorite thing is they translate that Barita Chadasha as new covenant. But we know that Chadash means renew just as much as it means new. It was a renewal of the covenant. It's like the Chadash is the word for Rosh Chodesh, the new moon. It's not a brand new moon. It's just a renewed moon from the prior month. Same moon, but it's renewed. And it's like, so they, people are playing little shell games with that. But the beauty of what you were talking about the storekeeper thing in relationship to that was like, 80% of that community, like when you think about different Jews and around the world, 80% of that community does not have an understanding of quiet as it's kept, does not have an understanding of Torah. They can't read Torah. So if we could read Torah, we're already, you understand what I'm saying? It's not like you're not dealing with thousands of years being behind. It's like 80% of the population, of that population doesn't know it. So it's like, there is obviously a more learned, more religious population that completely knows it, but 80% don't. So like, I often find it weird because I'm often hearing people scream at like, I call them Ashkenaz Jews, but screaming at Ashkenaz Jews. But the group that they're screaming at, they got it mixed. So all of the like stereotypes and all this sort of stuff is about that 80% that's not religious, but you got this 20% that like has knowledge and knows stuff and so forth, that for some reason you're conflating. Like, what does the dude with the dude with the yarmulke on have to do with the dude who owns the music industry? You know what I mean? They're not related. They're not the same people. You know what I mean? They're as foreign as you could get between day and night. You know what I mean? But somehow the hatred on that community, there's a hatred on a religious community because of the 80% that isn't doing anything. It does. I've never been able to compute this. And it's like, I always look at it this way. We got to make sure that we got to evaluate our actions and say, are we behaving in the way, if it was the Hasatan, right? If it was Satan, would he be on the side like us condemning those who are keeping the commandments? Why he would be condemning those keeping the commandments, or telling them, oh, you don't have to necessarily do the commandments. Like the average Christian goes, you don't necessarily have to do the commandments. Well, then you can't have us as the Hebrew Israelites or Yehudim. You know what I mean? You can't have us going, you 20% here who are clearly doing the commandments, have structures and learning and stuff like that to do commandments. I'm going to pretend like you're the same as the group that's having the gay pride parade in Tel Aviv. It doesn't make sense. I can't equate those two groups. They're not the same groups. You know what I mean? And that's generally the issue. I often have some time, like we spending too much time hating on the wrong group, because you know what I mean. It's like,
well said, well articulated. We hating on the wrong group.
yeah.
Man, well said, Yosef. Now, let's welcome to the panel. Yaham, what's good, King? It's good to see you.
Shalom, shalom, everybody. What's up, brother Jaden? Hey, powerful video last night, man. I popped back on here because I said, well, we gotta finish a couple of conversations, because man, I feel like we in a very good place to start building on some foundations. And I heard the brother say earlier, man, he enjoyed your platform for a lot of reasons, and I concur. Let's get this ball moving, baby. Let's do this thing. We can do it. And I also wanted to say, I do apologize if I sounded a little hostile last night. The only thing that I can say I hate about myself, even though I can sing, I hate my voice. Sometimes whenever the passion hit my stream of thought, sometimes it sounds like I'm a little bit more hostile and aggressive. I really ain't. It's just that that's the way I move whenever I get into like when you said I'm about ready to preach, I'm like, yeah, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, I'm ready to drop the hammer on what we doing right now, because the nail is definitely there, and we busting the head right open, man. Because the only thing we have been continuously doing is praising Yah and thinking on His name. We've been obedient, man. We looking out for each other like as lost sheep. Imagine being a lost sheep and seeking for your flock. Like, man, that's the most beautiful thing that I've seen in a long time. The fact that we can look for our flock and come together in such a way that it's just like the entire room move, man. The chat move in a certain way. It's just great. My bad, y'all. I don't know if y'all heard that. My mom was calling me.
Oh, you good, King? You good?
Yeah. But man, let the Ruach continue.
Last night, that was fire. That was a great live stream that we had. Your passion, man, that was like, yeah, I was motivated to preach. I wanted to preach a sermon. That you had us, you had us all, and you had us going. You had us like we all had our game face on. You was on fire. I didn't think that your passion was disrespectful. I watched the video back today. Like when I was at work, I actually watched the whole live stream, and yeah, there's times where I was cracking up. You had me rolling. I was just laughing. And but what you said, like, and how you said it, it was with passion and with realness. And I just respect the realness. So I don't think that you had to change anything from last night. I mean, hey, you keep the same energy, because we loved it. For sure. And we got to say, now we're going to warn you. We're all about peace, love, and unity over here. Hopefully what happened yesterday does not happen again. But Yosef, you are welcome on this platform. Shalom to you, King.
Absolutely. Hey, you safe? If anything I said offended you, brother, hey, I apologize for the way that the message was delivered. I try my hardest to be a sower of good seed. Sometimes I also forget to take into consideration what kind of soil I'm throwing out on. So the message might be a little bit more catered in detail to specific people. And I disregarded you as a human being in a certain aspect when I spoke with you last night. And I hope that you don't take any offense to what I said. I just spoke on what is apparently biblical truth.
Well, I think there was some conflating going on, as when I mentioned cartoons from Gaza promoting killing Jews, you referenced Hollywood as if it's a Jewish invention targeted on killing black people, which is false on so many levels and has nothing to do with Gaza's cartoons. The movie industry was not invented by Jews, but Jews did join it pretty early on and found a pretty lucrative way to make money in a bad situation in the 20s, as they were not accepted into non-Jewish circles. Non-Jewish publishers would not hire Jewish people, so Jews started opening their own companies for cartoons and media and so on, and maybe overrepresented as like in some industries like law, and just because of historical circumstances of Jews happening to be in New York, which became a hub of basically the center of the world. There's many explanations, but you conflating me as a religious Jew with anything that Hollywood has to do is just due to your misconceptions and conflating things that have nothing to do with each other, in my opinion.
Real quick, I gotta say, Yosef Yehuda, if you'd like to interject, feel free to interject.
Sure.
Like
I actually didn't hear the dialogue last night, but I agree with that last little bit. I heard that if Yosef is a religious Jew, I don't see how he'd be connected to the secular Jews who were prominent in creating the movie industry. I would also say that it's not completely out of the blue to have the opinion that the movie industry was designed in a way to promote the death and the destruction of blacks in America. I mean, through their early cartoons, through their early, I think there's a whole documentary on it called Ethnic Notions, and it talks about the different attributes. Or if you even go through the first sound music was the jazz singer with Al Jolson in blackface, or the role of
How is
Jews
that? I
in.
want to ask you a question though.
Oh, I'm
Hold
going
on.
to finish
So
one
if
sentence.
you
I'm going to finish one sentence. Or
Yosef, let him finish. Let Yosef Yehuda finish, please.
Or the role of Jews in the production and the creation of The Birth of a Nation, which was definitely an exploitation film that encouraged the Ku Klux Klan to kill black people. We got to be honest about that.
By the way, Yosef, let us know where you're at. Let us know where you're at right now.
Who, me?
As I said before, I'm in Jerusalem.
He's in the land of Jerusalem right now. He's in the Holy Land, Yerushalayim.
Awesome.
Yep. I don't know how someone putting on blackface doing jazz in 100 years ago could have been them maybe admiring the culture. I don't know how that has to do with promoting killing. I don't know how you conflate the things. I think you're a bit confused.
You missed Birth of a Nation.
Your evidence.
You missed Birth of a Nation.
I don't know what Birth of a Nation is, and
it's the first film in America.
It sounds like a conspiracy theory, dude. I don't. Think
it's not.
Actually,
it's not
promoting any facts.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's the first film in America.
Ima Bithia has it on screen. Ima has it on screen. Birth of a Nation. So we have witnesses here.
I'll tell you what I know about the United States. The United States was started by people trying to get away from Europe, from religious prosecution. Jews that contributed majorly for the establishment of the United States are people like Chaim Solomon that basically funded the United States until today. You live on his funds. No, so if you could bring any other evidence, it sounds like it's just like
you
have a conspiratorial theory. Seriously, it sounds bogus nonsense.
So you'll say no conspiracy theory. Chaim Solomon and all the early Sephardic communities of Jews in America, not talking about them.
Chaim Solomon was not Sephardi.
Okay, so Chaim Solomon was not a member of Kahal Kadosh Mikveh Israel, founded in 1751. Are you trying to make that claim to me? You can't
What?
just Google that and find out that he was a member of the first and most continuous Sephardic Spanish Portuguese congregation in America, Chaim Solomon. Yes, he spoke Polish, but it doesn't make him an Ashkenazi, Lo Ashkenazi.
He was from Poland.
Yes, I just said that. But he was a Sephardic Jew.
He was
I just told you what
no
synagogue
that,
he was a member of.
the fact that a Jew from Poland came to America and joined a Sephardi congregation does not make him Sephardi.
Yes, it does. Minhag
No,
HaMakom.
well, you're not going to
Minhag
tell me
HaMakom.
what makes
Wait a
me
second.
who I am.
Yosef,
You don't know what
Yosef, you're religious, right? You're religious,
Yeah.
right?
No, I am a traditional Hebrew Jew
Oh, okay, I'm
living
sorry.
in
I
the
thought
land
you were
of
religious.
Israel by the commandments of the Torah. I
I'm
don't
sorry,
know
I
what
thought you were
religion is.
religious.
I don't have a religion.
Religious
You
Jews have a
religions.
concept. Religious Jews have a concept called Minhag HaMakom. When
Yeah.
yes, he is a Sephardic Jew. He's like the most famous
No,
Sephardic
he's not.
Jew.
He's Ashkenazi Jew that joined the Sephardi community. That what means Minhag HaMakom. You just said it. You're
Yes, that's
contradicting
exactly
yourself.
what
You're
I
not
said.
making any sense.
No, that's literally what I said, and you're making it
No,
mean
that's not
something
what
different.
it means. That Minhag HaMakom means that you're from a different community. You join the community in. It doesn't make you actually originally
Yes, you
from that
become
community.
Sephardic, my friend. That's what it
Okay,
means.
fine, whatever, dude.
You're
It's like saying
pretending like
a
he's not.
convert was born a Jew. You're
I
not
would
making any
like to
sense.
ask
You can
your
keep your
a couple
opinion, but you're
questions.
not making any sense. That's fine.
What do you mean?
It
You're
doesn't
saying
make any
that
difference if Chaim Solomon was a Sephardi, Ashkenazi, Mizrahi, whatever. The fact is he was Ashkenazi from Poland. He might have joined a Sephardi community. You want to
my
call him
point
Sephardi?
is,
Yeah, okay,
my
whatever.
point
What
is,
else? What's your point, though?
I know because you're not letting me make my point. I'm saying the Eastern European
I'm
Jews.
asking you, what's your
I'm
point? I was just
saying
showing that you're not making any sense, but okay,
no.
let's now
I'm
get to
making
your
sense.
point.
This is just your style of debate.
No,
I
you're
would
not
like to
making
ask him
sense. If
some
you could
I
questions
made it
before we
very
go to
clear.
synagogue.
hold on. Let's there is a moderator. Let's ask him if he could make sense of this.
One at a time. Let's
I would
go
like
one
to
at a
ask you
time,
some
please.
questions, just safe
Go ahead.
if it's appropriate.
Go ahead.
You know, whenever you get time, I would like to ask you a few questions. I don't get to speak with true Jews on a regular basis, and I would like to just pick your brain for a few seconds, if you don't mind.
Can I just ask one question? Yosef, what is the argument with me? I'm saying that when Eastern European Jews came to the United States, they needed to start businesses and make a living. A lot of them overrepresented in the movie industry, and one of the byproducts of the movie industry and the music industry, by the way, but the movie industry is something that directly deals with the destruction of Black communities in America. I'm not really saying anything that should be in conflict between you and me,
I don't think that's
but
true,
your
but
style
like
is debate.
there's I don't really care for the topic. It's maybe true, but I don't think Hollywood is necessarily targeting. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not into the industry. I don't know. I don't watch movies. And from what
And
I
say
know,
you don't know. Say you're not
Hollywood
informed.
has a lot of movies. They target a lot of people. People like movies like let's say Pulp Fiction. Like they're killing people regardless of their race. I don't know. Like you could be focusing on it something because you're targeted on it, but it doesn't mean that it's true. I think you're taking things out of context. And like for example, like Popeye was invented by a Jew, Betty Boop, whatever. You think these things are anti-Black? No, they don't care. These have nothing to do with Black people. This is just entertainment,
Again, I'm not saying.
That's
It seems like you're not
disrespectful.
informed by the point that I'm making, but instead of just saying I'm not informed, you're somehow trying to disagree with a point that you're not aware of.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Uyaham. Go ahead.
I'm
Uyaham.
saying you will have to present
Let's pass it on.
facts, not just some documentary you saw. But whatever, like I said, Pulp Fiction, for example, it's not. I gave an example. If you could bring a counter example, then you're welcome. But you're just bringing words.
The problem, Yosef, is if you don't know what the birth of a nation is, you should not be talking about the movie industry. The birth of the nation is the foundation of the music industry. The movie
Let's
industry.
Let's go ahead and let Uyaham interject. Go ahead, King.
Whatever.
Kobe Garcia, you plucked it right out of my head. I wanted to ask him about the Talmud and the things that they say about the Messiah. Do you agree with those things?
There is no what? Don't conflate what the Talmud says about Yeshu Anotzri with the Messiah. Why are you conflating topics?
Also, you going in, okay, so then that's where we disagree at. So you going to a whole completely
Well,
different.
the Talmud doesn't say anything about the Messiah. So what are you speaking of? You're speaking about Yeshu Anotzri mentioned in the Talmud.
Okay, so when they reference that his mother was a whore.
Where does it say that?
Okay, so I don't have a copy of the Talmud, but I could definitely
It doesn't say that. It never references that. So it's just made up.
Just to chime in a little bit, you Ulaham, let me hope I don't butcher your name, brother. I don't mean to. I'm as much of a true Jew as Yosef is, and Yosef, you have to understand, I'm just about truth. I disagree with you on the movie industry thing, but I totally agree with you that Yeshu Hanoshri is not the Jesus of the New Testament. Never was. He was a sorcerer and so forth, and he lived about 100 years different from when the Yeshua
I
of the
don't
Christian
agree with
scripture.
that. I do agree it's referring to the guy that you're referring to, but I haven't he has nothing to do with the Messiah. The Talmud is referencing him in conjunction with Bilham. If you know Bilham from the Bible, with his donkey, female donkey, which is boiling in a batch of semen, which shows it's basically he's in a condition where everything he produced is has no life can come from it. It's basically boiling semen can only be discarded as nuclear waste. But on the contrary, Yeshua Notzri, he's in a positive connotation. He's in boiling feces that can be used as fertilizer around the world, as here you're the fruits of.
So what was it about this nobody Jewish person that what was it about him that was worth referencing in the Talmud? This is a book that was passed down from ancestor to ancestor. What was important enough about him to reference him if he is to be someone different? This is the problem with the additions that were made. And I'm gonna say it like this. I feel like
He's as important as Muhammad was. Yet two figures that spread the message of the Hebrew nation to the nations, although through a twisted manner, in order to break the egos of the acceptance, as the true straight direct message would not be received initially, and because of the inequities of the nations, the nation of Israel was sent as a messenger out. And unfortunately, people like Yeshua Notzri made their choices, but as he's part of the Jewish nation, his message was also used to fulfill the full purpose.
And that's all from the Bible, or is this all from man-made interpretation?
Oh yeah, you could find this all referenced through the entire Bible. Of course, this is prophecy.
So I tried to find a point of common ground with you, Yosef. Are you someone who studies the Talmud?
No,
you
not really. I'm more
matter-of-factly
focused on Tanakh.
Okay, so you matter-of-factly tried to make it seem like references to Yeshu Noshri have to be Jesus. I don't know any rabbi.
I don't care. I don't really care about the matter. I really don't care.
Well, then why be
It
insightful?
really doesn't matter to me. I'm just saying what I see. I see the world as it is, reality. I take reality. First of all, I look at reality as the reality the Almighty gave us. So the reality is the rod we test the Bible according to, and the Talmud, or all oral traditions, all the Hebrew traditions are tested by history.
All right. And then the other thing I wanted to ask, this is just me asking you a question, right? So you are very passionate that you are a bloodline ancestral DNA.
I have a tradition that we are from David. Yes, in my family, passed down
from the ground road of the Father. So I just want to ask you this question, and I want you to try and make it make sense to me in a way that I can understand. Your people are the true Jews, but all your historical artifacts are locked away by the Roman Catholic Church in the Vatican, and you guys
They
haven't
stole
fought
them.
to get those things
The
back.
Romans stole, looted the temple. What is not?
Right,
That's
right.
historical fact. Yes.
So your
What's the
argument
issue?
with us is who we are, and my argument with you is go get your stuff back then.
Yeah, you joining me with the army? You think we didn't try? Did you ever look into this topic at all, or you're just like
So hold on.
talking?
As big and bad as
You
you
think
are to shoot through
Israel
my
doesn't want the
children,
artifacts from the Vatican? You think we
as
haven't
big
made
and bad as
requests
you
from the
are to shoot
Vatican
through
to
my
get our
children,
stuff back? And the Vatican is an anti-Semitic entity. No, they don't give Israel anything. What?
I'm glad that you're laughing about that, because I'm just saying, if I had possessions and they were in someone else's, stolen by someone else, I don't think I would be making such a big argument about Kanye West.
What?
There's other things for
Dude, I
your
don't know
people
what you're
to
talking.
address.
What? You're not making any sense. I don't
Of
care
course, I'm
about
not
Kanye
making
West,
any
but what's the
sense, because
Kanye West
you're
have to do with
not
the
safe.
Vatican
You're
holding
not
Jewish
safe.
possessions?
You're safe. You're safe. You're not safe. You're safe. You're not safe. You don't understand because you haven't taken the time to broaden your horizon, brother. That's the only thing
Dude,
I'm
whatever.
asking you.
Is this gonna go anywhere, or we're having a? I need to go to synagogue again. You know, it's almost morning prayer here, so I have a couple minutes, guys. But sure.
I'm sorry, no.
So,
I don't know.
so
Is this make?
Yosef,
I don't know, dude. You're all
okay,
over the place. Vatican, Kanye
so,
West. I don't know
so
what you're
Yosef,
talking about, man.
Yosef,
I lost you, dude. I lost you.
so Yosef, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. Like, are you? You're saying you're not religious. You're saying you're kind of traditional, but you don't agree
I
with the
don't believe
Talmud.
Judaism is not a religion. Religions are Islam, Christianity, Buddhism. Those are religions. We don't have a religion. We
Why
have
are
a
you? Why are
direct
you playing?
message
Why are
from
you
the
playing games?
Almighty on
Why are
Sinai,
you playing
truth
games?
of Hebrew tradition. They don't have a religion,
Why are
dude.
you playing
And,
games? You
You
act like.
follow religions.
Why are you
and
The
I
playing
only
games?
religions
have
are false.
Why are
one
you playing
additional
games?
question for you,
You act,
Yosef.
you act like there's no words like Orthodox, Haredi. You're in Jerusalem. Why are you playing a game? You know what I'm asking
Orthodox
you.
is an English word. I don't care about
Okay,
the
are
word
you Haredi?
Orthodox. No.
Are you Haredi?
Haredi, yes, I'm Haredi. Haredi means someone who is in awe of the Almighty. That's what the word means.
Are you Haredi in the way that is traditionally used?
And no, I am Haredi in the actual meaning of the sense of the word.
So, what type of you said you're about to pray? What type of shul are you about to go to?
I am going to the nearest near me that davens Sfard.
Far Arizal. Okay, I got you. Okay, but you didn't seem to say that you didn't follow the Talmud. Do you follow Tanya?
No, I follow it. I'm just not very knowledgeable about it. I am more,
Okay, because when I
I'm a
said
less smart. I'm not as smart as the smartest Jews. I'm like a stupid Jew. I only know
okay,
the beginning.
so I'm saying then why were you so emphatic on the stuff when you were talking to me? The Yusha, the Yeshu Noshri stuff, you were very emphatic
Oh,
that that was
because
Jesus.
I am well versed in that passage, and people only speak of a Yeshu, but the passage is about Bilham and Yeshu. And I think I explained that perfectly. If you could contradict what I said, then you're welcome to. But if you're just questioning what I said, then
So if you're
that's
so
fine. You could
versed on
do
the
that.
passage, where is the passage?
What is this? It's all the anti-Semites love it. You Christians love that passage. I don't know where it is. I've looked it up
You
before.
just
I
said you were
looked
very
into the
versed. If
issue.
I'm
I
very
gave you
versed
my
on the
opinion
passage,
on
I
the
know where
matter.
it is. If I'm very
It's
versed on
the
the passage, I know where it
Sanhedrin
is.
something. I don't know. You could look it up. I really don't. It's not my
I
topic.
know,
Like I
but if
said,
a
I looked
person
into it.
look,
I
if a
gave you
person
my
has learned,
explanation. You could like it, not like it. I really don't. Doesn't matter to me.
Hey, my last question, Yosef, is your interpretation of yourself being a Jew. Can I ask you what of the other tribes?
What about what again?
where are the other tribes?
Where are
I
other
believe
tribes?
all the tribes were gathered after the first exile in Babylon. The second temple was already the regathering of all the tribes. So that's
No, no,
not
no,
really
no.
an issue on me.
And today, if you are a Jew, where are your brothers?
Well, there's different theories about Pashtun
Oh,
being
now you're
some
going in the
tribes
theories.
in
You said you
different
were on a
tribes around the
conspiracy
world, like
theory.
basically also the Menashe, the Dan, the Ethiopians. There's plenty of different people claiming to be different tribes. But my full it's Bereshit is the first word of the Bible, which means for, like Berachel, like for Rachel is Berachel. Bereshit means for Reshit. Reshit means the head to spread, for wisdom to spread. From the Almighty's wisdom to spread, He created powers, tangible and less tangible, physical and less physical, heavenly and earthly. And the message that will be delivered through history from the Hebrew people to the rest of the nations to become Israel. So the holiness of Israel will be represented, like in Genesis 1:1, on the entire land for all peoples of the whole world, when you recognize the true Almighty and come worship Him in the temple in Jerusalem.
Everything you just said was beautiful. I have to admit, very Kabbalistic. But what I would venture
It's
to say is
literal in the text. It's not
what I
nothing to do with Kabbalah. I could prove this
no,
from
because
grammatical.
one could
I would
argue
recommend you go to my
Bereshit
channel and check my
Bereshit is the most
grammatical work on Hebrew.
Bereshit is the most complex word in the Hebrew language. There's a whole
My channel is
tradition of
dedicated to
how
it. You should
one
look
must
at it.
translate the word Bereshit. So don't play a game
For
like you're
wisdom
just one
spread.
translation in the panim of the Torah is the only one. So let's not play the game. You're not dealing with a child, Yosef.
Oh, it's
So
for
the thing,
wisdom spread is what it means. And if you could bring, it means for wisdom, for Israel, for the Torah, for wisdom, Bereshit Chachma, for wisdom to spread. Sheet is the on the from the plant Shamir v'kashait. The shait is a plant that takes over the land when it's to protect it from foreigners, so it keeps it for the Israelites when they return. It's a spreading and taking control plant. That way, sheet means to spread. For wisdom to spread, the Almighty created powers. And you could bring many other explanations, but they will all fall in line with this one, as Hebrew is the truth. And one understanding does not contradict the other, only makes it stronger and
yes,
better.
but you made it seem like yours was the only one. You did a
But
Oh,
this
I didn't
remez.
say that.
You did a
And I
this
remez
is
explained
for
that again
Bereshit.
now. So if you
We
did you
know
understand my explanation?
we know pardes. We know how to do an orchard of any
That's
verse
not
in the
part of this,
Torah.
dude. I explained to you. You could go to my channel, and I have videos dedicated to this with ChatGPT that prove this grammatically. This is a science. The
It's
Kabbalah
not
is based on you're interrupt. The Kabbalah I have to go, but the Kabbalah is based
got
on
one more question, Yosef.
Chazal traditions that are based on grammar. It's nothing to do with this is proven scientifically. You could prove this throughout the entire scriptures by how the message is built, how the nekudot, how the letters are
yes.
presented, how
We know the
everything is
nikudot.
persistent.
We know the nikudot. You talked in a circle just to agree with me at the end
I
that
have
your
a video on
definition
the
came from
matter. I
Kabbalah.
don't think you understood what I said. I
I
gotta go. It's
understood
nice
everything
speaking
you
to you
said.
Hey,
guys.
hold on,
I'll be
Yosef.
back
It's
in
a
a few years
basic
from now. I'll
remez.
come back. I'll
You did a basic
you
remez.
want to
It's not
welcome
that
me. You're
difficult.
interrupting me. I
Off
can't
of the
speak. This
structure of
is like,
Pardash.
wow.
You went outside of
I'm
the
trying to
Peshat
go,
and
but
you
the
did a
guy's
basic
talking and
remez.
talking. Okay, bye.
Hey, Yosef, I got a question for you. No, matter of fact, it's not even a question. I just want to in your eyes, I'm gonna step into your realm, and I just want you to, take a little bit of advice from a Gentile, since in your eyes, that's what I appear to be, right? Last night, you expressed how you were willing to kill for the namesake of Israel. But are you aware that in the scripture, it talks about those who are willing to die for the namesake of the Father? And I think that you missed that last night, because we, as Israel, just some Gentiles in your eyes,
You're
a bunch
misrepresenting
of
what I
people.
said, but you could go
No,
and
no, no,
see what I
no, no,
said.
no. I'm
But
not
I said, yes, I
misinterpreting what
will
you said. I
proudly
remember what you
oppose
said because
anyone
I
who
watched it over.
supports the annihilation of the Jewish people. Proudly, yes, we will take care of all our enemies. Anyone who promotes hatred and to kill us, we will take care of them.
Well, the KKK has you in their crosshairs, and I have
Well,
not heard or seen you take on those who consider them to be supremacists to the world. Man, that sucks. I just wanted them to understand that his passion to kill, steal, and destroy is evident from someone who he considers to be subservient to who he is, and his ability to have compassion for any other people lets me know that if he represents an entire group of people who have a synagogue, that in Revelation, when it speaks about a synagogue of Satan, then he is absolutely proving that scripture is real, not because of what he said, but because of his actions. You'll know them by their fruit. You know them by their fruit. And I can honestly say that that's rotten, brother, because if we on this panel to have a conversation that's meant to be open and to teach someone, where's your humility? I didn't see a lot of humility. I didn't see any at all.
Well, I wasn't on the dialogue last night, so I don't know.
No. That was your safe. That's your safe, not yourself. That was the
I
guy
understand.
who just jumped
I
off.
understand. I'm agreeing with you. What I was going to say is, I really felt talking to him that he was kind of like a closed book, and he kind of already, if somebody cut him, he never acknowledged when he was cut. I mean, he mentioned the most famous Sephardic person in history, Chaim Solomon, and tried to say, you know, he's known as an Ashkenazi, and that's kind of weird. He tried to do a Kabbalistic interpretation on Bereshit, and when I called him out on it, he talked in circles, thinking that I wouldn't know any Hebrew, and then at the end he threw in, and that's why it says it in the Kabbalah. I mean, it's like every time, you know, you got to him in a wall or you presented something to him, he would either you know, not acknowledge the cut or say he didn't care about the cut. That was his most famous one. Every time I would get to something, he would go, I don't really care about that. Whatever you say. So, and again, if I'm butchering your name, brother, let me know. Uyaham. If
Man, to be honest, my name William, bro. I don't know. You know what I mean? My mama is a woman from America. And before we had any truth and knowledge of who we were, I was named William. And that starts with a W and two U's make a oo sound. So that's where the oo comes from. Yah, of course. And then Ham. I'm the father of two daughters, and I intend on my daughters becoming something beautiful. So whatever nation shall stand. But you, Yah, am, right? That's absolutely, when you ask me what would my message to the world be, how would the world know me? You, Yah, am. Because he said what his name was, and however we want to take it or whatever we want to run with it, we have been mixed to a point where whatever language we speaking right now, I can guarantee you this is from Babylon. This language is definitely Babylonian, and it's not a lot that you could do to convince me that it's not, because there's, in Spanish, if I wanted to address my son and my daughter, it would pretty much be the same word, but one would be masculine, one would be feminine, right? In most languages, this is how it goes. But in America, right, we speak in English, and English has these words that have multiple meanings. And I don't think that's by coincidence. I think that was designed so that we could be in this state at this time with so much confusion, because which
Yes. Let's go ahead and welcome back on the panel, Yosef. Yeah, I just want to go ahead and interject real quick. Yeah, I noticed he likes to, like, when he gets in trouble, when it gets hot, he likes to go to synagogue. All of a sudden, he likes to cut off, and he likes to cut off whoever's speaking to him. So next time, if he comes back on, I'm just gonna have to mute his mic. So I apologize to the panel and to everybody listening for not muting his mic while he was speaking. That way, next time he's not going to be able to overtalk anybody, and so I apologize for that. You know, sometimes I'm a little too lenient. I let things go, but yeah, that was Yeah, it was 2 nights in a row where he revealed his character or lack
You said
of.
it right last
And
night. You said give him the rope to hang himself. And brother, I don't think he understood what you meant when you said that, but he is continuously jumping in here. I'm a chef. I know how to cook, and as soon as the pot gets to boiling, he out.
Yeah, got to go to synagogue.
yeah, real quick, I like to say also, yeah, Yosef, yeah, I noticed Yosef, I noticed that he gave a Kabbalistic, or he gave a Kabbalah interpretation on Bereshit. And yes, you brought up a great point. The word Bereshit is strange because it translates as in the beginning, but
Yes,
technically there's no definite article. Am I correct? There's no definite
correct.
article. So it's like in beginning. It's in
Yes,
beginning, which is very strange. That's not
yes,
proper grammar. So for him to say it's
correct.
based off grammar, no, that's
No,
not proper grammar. But it's written on that way. To me, I ponder. I've heard teachings on this,
sure.
and like you said, I mean, I would think you would have to go below the Peshat level to really
Yes,
understand Bereshit in beginning.
yes,
Um, but you gotta be careful going down when you go, below the Peshat or the plain level. The Peshat is the plain level.
yeah,
When you get into the Remes and the Dorash and into the soul level, you got to make sure you're swimming carefully, and
yes,
it's not for everybody. Um,
yeah,
but I would have to say that, yeah, Hebrew has a lot of hidden gems, a lot of esoteric secrets, and it starts with the first verse.
yeah.
The verse phrase, bereshit, in beginning. But yeah, for him to say that it's what he said, his Kabbalistic interpretation, and then dismiss what you said, but then admit that it is Kabbalistic,
Yeah.
I thought that was telling. It was really
And
characteristic of how he's been for the last 2 nights.
and the other thing that I thought was hurting, like the conversation with William, that was getting on my nerves, is he was being emphatic in the Talmud. And I've heard you, Brother Jayden, talk about the Talmud before. One of the things that someone is trying to do, is they're trying to keep us out the Talmud. I'm not saying that everybody who wrote the Talmud is, like what we call a Jake. There's definitely different groups and communities of people who wrote in the Talmud, but we got to go in there and get our gems. Like, for example, Rabbi Meir, who is 50% of the things written in the Mishnah for which there isn't attributed to an individual, was actually in the tradition is taught to be the grandson of the Emperor Nero. So definitely an Edomite. You see what I'm saying? So that is true. So what about the 50% that's not? Or like Rabbi Akiba is the son of a Canaanite general. That's all known. Like the thing about going through the Talmud and the Mishnah and getting gems, like when you brought up the one about how they talk about the Jews are black. You remember you brought that up in one of your lessons. And that could have been an old lesson that I was listening to, or it could be a more recent one. I don't remember. I just know I was listening to it. And the thing about it is they're trying to hide stuff from us by making us reject the entire book, and it's a whole volume of things. You should always be weary if somebody's trying to get you to reject an entire book of information. It's the entire history of what happened to us after we got kicked out of Jerusalem in the 2nd century of the Common Era up until about the 6th century. That's an important 400 years of when we cultivated and we created and kept a tradition going. You know what I mean? And little bit of a sidetrack, so keep me back on track, Brother Jayden. But like one of the gems there that they always like trying to keep us from is the gem in which it says, when he's talking about leprosy, and it goes, the children of Israel are neither black or white, they are brown, the color of boxwood. It literally said, and it's no ambiguity. It says they are not black, and it uses the word shakar for that, and it says, and they're not, and for the word for not white, they use the word Germani. The word Germani is actually used in the Aramaic for white. So you can't, they're trying to hide the information from us. And so he came so adamant that Yeshu Noshri, because that would turn a lot of you brothers the wrong way. See, that wouldn't really have an impact on me because of the way we view certain texts. It wouldn't work. But if I was like somebody and I was already skeptical about the Talmud, that would be just enough. It's like I always wonder when there's like somebody coming in, is it a mission or something? They got an agenda to try and derail something, because it's like that was a little bit too emphatic. And I don't know any rabbi of any. That's why I asked him, which shul you going to? Because you notice how he tried to subterfuge, was he Haredi or not? Everybody in Jerusalem knows what the word Haredi means. You know what I mean? It's only the main words are going to be shrugim or Haredim. Shurugim is like somebody who wears a knitted kippah, who's willing to fight in the war but is religious. And Haredi is someone who's like black, wears all black and white. He did not look like somebody who wears all black and white, but he still tried to present himself as Haredi. And as I drilled into the synagogue, he said Nusak Ari, but Sephard, which is a contradiction. Nusak Ari does not agree with Nusak Sephard. But again, he's thinking that we don't know stuff, so he's trying to come against it. Nusak Ari is the tradition of the Lubavitchers, the Hasidim, who are the Lubavitch, whereas Nusak Sephard is more Ashkenaz. It's an Ashkenaz pattern of certain groups, but they aren't the same. You wouldn't be in the same synagogue. But again, he's trying a little rope-a-dope there.
One more shofar blast. That's a shofar blast. One more time. I know it's annoying. That was fire.
Man.
Gems.
Hey, that's necessary. That's necessary. Hey, that's why we got to have people like yourself and Jaden, man. Hey, Yosef and Jaden, yo, it's like when you said earlier, how come these street brothers don't have somebody who got the yada yada yada? And I'm thinking to myself, my sentiments exactly. That's why I was like, yo, I'm not a camper and I don't have any inclination to go that way, but I do know it take an army. It take an army to get with these guys. And from what I'm seeing, the way that y'all able to break down the backspin, yo, we finna win the chip, yo. We finna win a chip.
Appreciate it.
And,
wow.
And for that thing on Rabbi Kiva I was talking about, even though it's a little bit of sidetrack, that's Mishnah Negaim, Negaim, for anybody who's like looking for that. It's undeniable. It's the one that there's no debates about rabbis with. It's very clear. And in the final ruling that was come up with that, it says, well, we'll make the test for whether or not somebody has the psoriasis. We'll make the test for it easier for somebody who's black. For us who are just brown, it'll be the same test for us who are brown and us who are black, but we'll make it harder for the Germanis. That was the conclusion of the matter on that Talmud. It's like no ambiguity in that one. And it's Rabbi Akiba, the greatest rabbi in the tradition. Nobody can challenge it. It's just never talked about.
Yeah, but don't that seem funky when the scriptures say don't call no man father, don't call no man rabbi, but yet and still they run with the runners?
You know what, brother? That's the biggest problem I have with Messianic Jews. They call their leaders rabbi. How can you do that? That's an automatic contradiction for them.
Right.
That's the part I never get. I understand how somebody who don't have Yeshua in their faith would say rabbi. I don't get how somebody who claims to be a follower of Yeshua has rabbis in their faith.
Right. And that's, you know what I'm saying? And even to know that's one strike and then go to the second strike when you hear Revelation and it say the synagogue of Satan, and then you look around and there ain't no synagogues around except the ones that you running. It's just like, man, do you guys know what a mirror is?
So let me say something to you about that, William, that a lot of people aren't realizing. Unlike other religions or other groups or other nations of people amongst the Jews currently today, amongst the Ashkenazim, they happen to be divided into different, I want to call them sects, completely distinct religions. And so they have Reform, they have Conservative, they have Reconstructionists, and all of those groups call themselves synagogues, even though they don't follow the Torah, they don't believe in it, they don't believe in the truth of it. So like the Reform and the Reconstructionists don't follow it. They don't believe it's the word of God. They don't believe God gave it to Moses. Those are all not parts of their belief. They don't even have to believe in God himself, especially on the Reconstructionist side. So if I was going to go, who is more likely meant by that verse? Who are the synagogues of Satan? It would clearly be those who don't follow the commandments of God and yet call themselves a synagogue.
They ain't call themselves Jews. It's so many scriptures, and it's not an attack on anybody. I see what kind of power they have, and it was spoken that they will have that kind of power. But it just, the math ain't mathing. Not over here anyway. Because I'm talking about just sticking to scripture. I don't even want to take interpretation to a point where it's literal. I just want to stick with scripture. And it's just like those who say that they're Jews that are not. And that's your one claim to fame. Those, they from the synagogue of Satan. That's your second claim to fame. Rabbi, that's your third claim to fame. And I'm looking at this like, how are you so fast to jump onto someone else and condemn them when all they're trying to do is what you claim to be doing? It's so many, the Proud Boys, the alt-right, it's so many different groups of people who naturally have hatred for them to the point where they even worship the king of your enemies. 88, HH, all of these things are them to the fullest. But you would rather jump on a platform of brothers and waste your time before you got to get ready to go to the synagogue at 6. I would love for them to just sit down and actually, matter of fact, I would love for them to go and talk to some of the street camps, because that's where, you know what I mean, they get that disrespect thing and they get the ball rolling. I feel like if they really wanted to talk to somebody who can hit them with the same scriptures, I think that's what my camp brothers need to be taking their focus on. Go talk to those people. You want an argument with somebody? Those people claim to be everything that you are, and if you say anything to them, but if you in a camp, what they gonna take from you? They can't take your shirt from you. Your fringes will still be with you in the morning. Go hard. They're gonna give us back black jobs anyway, so wherever you work, they plan on getting rid of you. They want it to be just like it was in the 60s during the time period where they just did paperwork and we wiped down the bathrooms. That's what they wanted to go to. And if you're gonna lose your job at Walmart, Target, if you're gonna lose your job working for them to fulfill their prophecies in this country, pull your sword out. Iron sharpen iron. These boys is sharp.
I do also just want to say one comment, which is really, and I apologize in advance, Brother Jayden. It is a ding. No religious Jew would be going to synagogue at the time that we're having this conversation, because there's a thing in traditional observance of Judaism called Hanetz Hakama, which is the most auspicious time to pray, to someone who prays the traditional. I pray the traditional prayer, so I know this. And that moment, that highest moment, is sunrise. So during the moment that there was sunrise, he was having the conversation with us. There is no synagogue that's going to open right after the most auspicious time to pray. There's one that'll probably open an hour later or something like that, but not at the most. You can't be 15 minutes for Hanetz. You got to, it's exactly that moment. And so it's very suspicious, I'll say.
Wow, thanks for bringing that out tonight. Yes.
And
Uyaham, Joseph, man, both of y'all was bringing out gems. We all brought something to the potluck, as you will. We all brought different facts and just put it together. It was meant to be that both of y'all was here on this night's live stream when that Jewish man was on earlier. It was meant to be. All praises to Yah. Just look at the timing of that. And yes,
All
that was
praise.
some great edification from both of you. I didn't know that about the. You said the son, while he was supposed to be at synagogue, he was
Talking with us.
While he was supposed to be in prayer, he was speaking to us.
Yes.
But that shows that the math ain't right. The math ain't mathing,
Yes.
as Yahan would say.
Yes, because now understand, I don't apply to me because I'm here in the U.S. Israel is 7 hours ahead. So when he was talking to us, that was the most auspicious time to be in prayer in Israel, because that is when the sunrise in Jerusalem is 5:33 a.m. So from the moment that he was starting to talk to us, that's when he should have been in synagogue.
It's beautiful to have a cheat sheet, man. Hey,
yes, for
yo,
sure.
they're like, hey, he pulling the rug from underneath them, like you.
No, because the reality is, this is the problem I have with the brothers on the corner. They just should be studying this information to the level that, like, they can't be played. Somebody like that, if he went up to one of them, or he was talking to them, or he was interviewed after them, people would hear him and think he actually knew what he was talking about. And it's just like, there's easy holes that can easily be poked in there in these sort of things, but it does take knowledge.
That's a fact,
All
man.
right,
Hey, Jada, man, you ever thought about doing like a Israelite testifying? You know what I mean? As a man of Israel, it's plenty of places that we can go and talk scriptures and hit on the points that we don't agree with, but it ain't a lot of places where we can go to and be like, yo, you have no idea where I was at and what it was going through my head when y'all slipped the truth to me in such a way that I'm talking about popularity to the point where you like, I can't believe somebody that popular couldn't be a celebrity. Somebody who could be doing the things in the streets could be doing these things and then learn the truth and then just hit a switch and lose everybody just because the lack of acceptance for the things that you understand are not acceptable amongst the brethren, not acceptable before the Father, and not even acceptable whenever we do repent. I know we got repentance, but some of the things that we did, man, when you knew what you was doing before you went into it, man, it's crazy that we asking for forgiveness at the same time. We said, F it. I'm about to do it. It's F it. Whoa, you only YOLO. Like, we was in that mentality, and it ain't nowhere where I can go and be like, yo, what was that brother name? Brother Yerushalayim. It was this video, Hidden History of Black People, I guess. I think that's the name of it, but I'm probably butchering it. Man, when I seen that video, I had no idea about anything biblical, to the point where something simple like Moses didn't make it to the promised land. Me and my wife had got divorced, and she was raised in the church, and I said, man, you know, it's crazy because people might not even understand Moses didn't get into the promised land. And my wife was like, what? And I showed her, and she was like, man, that's crazy. I've been raised in church and had no understanding of these things. So it's a beautiful thing for us to be able to just testify to each other instead of saying, no, this is what I believe and this is why I believe it and how I believe it. Because we all know scriptures, and if we stick to it, we straight on that aspect. But when we start deviating out, like it's only got to be teaching. So there's too many teachers out here. Not saying that nobody can't teach and anybody can learn from anybody. I've learned some of the biggest lessons in my life from classic heathens. But I'm looking for somewhere where it could just be like, hey man, where you at, bro? I'm about to pull up. Might take me 2 days to get there, but boy, Jaden, you know I'm coming back to the West Coast one day. You know what I'm saying? And yourself, wherever you at, bro, hey, I need to roll around with you so I can say, read.
That's right. Pull up.
You know,
pull
that's
up.
that's my
Yeah.
dream, brother. My dream is like we walking on the street and somebody is like, read on, and he read first in the Hebrew, then he read in the English. That's my dream. It's over there, brothers.
Man. How'd you phrase that?
But
Hang on. You said an Israelite. How'd you phrase that? An Israelite. I'm trying to get the last part. You said maybe we should have an Israelite. What was the last part? What you said in the beginning?
That William said.
William?
William. Oh, okay. Now
Oh yeah, I'm with you. My bad. I forgot I was muted. I said,
Oh,
it's crazy because I remember, but I don't know exactly. So it's kind of like that's what the Ruach do. Sometimes it push you to, you know what I mean? Be Aaron when Moses like, I don't know what to say.
what are you trying to prove, like, as an Israelite? I don't understand. What are you
well,
trying to prove?
hold on. First, I let you on, but I'm looking at the time. It's 2:50. We getting long in the live stream. Usually like in around 3:30, but I don't know. I might call it in. So
Go 3:30.
what I'll do?
Go 3:30. Go 3:30. Come on, we got it. We got that. It's gonna be easy.
What is it?
It's gonna be cake.
What is? Well, let me ask you this. So what would you like to bring out?
Well, it's just I'm trying to sit here and trying to figure out what if you're claiming this bloodline Israelite thing. So what is that? What is it that's so special? What is it that gives you some kind of advantage? Anything? Just what is that?
In my opinion, that seems off topic. That's not the topic of tonight's live stream. The topic was, by the way, this is Brian. Brian, this is what's your fourth or fifth time? I think it's your fifth time you've been on here.
What's the topic, my friend? I'll try to stay on the topic. What's the topic? I'll get you on the topic.
We're getting long in the tooth here. We're getting long. We covered a lot. I mean, we went in. I wish you came in earlier, but yeah, it's precept upon precept, line upon line, explain, open panel discussion. Did you watch the live stream earlier? Then you came on, or did you just come on just now?
No, I did this. I just jumped on, but it's cool. You got another, like, you can go about another 30. You know what I mean? And we're not going to do no heavy lifting or nothing. But
Well, I don't know how Yosef and Uyaham is feeling. Because me, I'm feeling a little tired, honestly.
But I mean, you got Umaham and whatever. I mean, that ain't your name. You know what I mean? So who gave you the name? Did you come up with that name yourself? Like, what's going on? I don't understand all that.
No need for disrespect here. Hey, no need for
I
disrespect.
ain't doing
You gotta
that. I ain't
disrespect
doing
nobody
that.
now.
I'm just saying. So
Okay, well, go ahead,
I'd
Uyaham, since he spoke.
like to address the visitor. You asked me, what does knowing that I'm an Israelite, what does that do? What does that mean? What superpowers does it give me?
Yeah.
It gives me the ability to humble myself before my enemies and not flee. That's it. That's all it means.
Well,
I can humble myself before my enemies and not flee. Everything else is for you to interpret it how you want or to take it however you want. I never meant you any harm. I still don't mean you any harm. I asked the question last night. If I extended the forgiveness for the things that you say you didn't do, right, to my ancestors, if I extended that, would you accept that? If I said, I'm forgiving you for everything in history that was done, would you accept that?
there's anything that I don't need you to tell me anything that I've done, because I haven't done anything.
I never said you. I said your father. If I forgive your forefathers for everything that they did, would you accept that?
My forefathers sins are not mine. And you know that because that's listed in the Bible. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I
Absolutely. And let it be what it is then. If you have any whatever towards me and you refuse my forgiveness for whatever you've done, then you testify and explain to me what I've done to you to offend you or set you in disarray.
No, so the problem is that I don't need your forgiveness, bro. I don't need your forgiveness. I need Jesus' forgiveness. That's whose forgiveness I need.
can
And
I
so
also answer the
it has
So
to
question?
do with
why do you need my explanation if my forgiveness is not acceptable?
it's not that your forgiveness is not acceptable.
I think you are on
I
mute.
just hear you. I don't know. Am I
Um,
muted? I don't know.
can I
All right.
try to answer the
So
question too?
Yes, yes. I muted myself on accident. Yeah, go ahead, Yosef. My bad.
So building off of what William said for why it matters that he's an Israelite. I would say that as an Israelite, I was given one of the greatest gifts in the universe, which is the oracles of the divine. And as given the oracles of the divine, one of the requirements is to set myself apart as a holy nation by following the commandments of God. And with it comes a blessing and a curse. And the blessing is God, the Almighty, will bless those that bless me, and he will curse those who curse me. So, putting all that together, I'm not saying it makes me a superhero, but it definitely makes me, by the definition of the Torah, holy to the extent that I keep the commandments.
okay, so you're going off of the Old Testament to define
Really? Really?
Israel.
Because I led with Paul. You didn't notice Paul? You didn't notice Paul.
Well, no, I noticed Paul.
What
I
advantage
understand
have the
Paul.
Jew? We were given the oracles of God, right? That's Paul. I started with Paul.
Hold, yeah, hold on. I do recognize the Israelites, and I do not curse them by any means. However, I think that there needs to be a realization where Paul, I believe it's Paul, refers to Israel not being just Israel itself, but the extended version of Israel, which is to bring in, let's say, Christians into what is called Israel.
Just to
So,
be clear, because I just want to make sure I understand you. You do
go ahead.
respect the fact that Paul was the apostle to the non-Jews, right?
Yeah, and so was Peter.
What do you mean? Peter was one of the 12 in the Council of
Yeah.
Jerusalem, whose mission was to the Jews. Paul
And he also,
is the apostle to the non-Jews, according
and,
to
and
the epistles and the gospel. Well, not the gospel because it's not in the gospel, but according to the epistles of Paul.
okay. So you don't believe that Peter also had a part in the Gentile conversion?
I think you're trying to make something that's not what I'm making. The apostle is a title. It is a role. It is a mission.
It's not what.
Paul was
Okay,
the
so
apostle to the non-Jews, whereas Peter was one of the
okay,
12 who were one of the followers of Jesus, who were the apostles to the Jews and the leadership of the followers of Jesus. If
okay.
you
So
believe in the
what
book of
you're,
Acts,
yeah. So what you're saying is that Peter didn't have anything to do with Gentile conversions.
I think you want to make something that I'm not saying. What having something to, what does conversions of Gentiles have to do with the mission? Do you follow the four Gentile rules that were given to you in the book of Acts in the Council of Jerusalem? Do you eat things that are strangled?
No,
Do you
talking about Acts
do you
15.
forsake idols, keep from things that are strangled? Do
You're
you
talking. Yeah, yeah, hold
you
on. Let
follow
me
the
let me
four rules?
let me point out that I understand where you're coming from. That's Acts 15. Yeah.
Acts 15, but then also confirmed in Acts 21.
Okay. So I mean, that's
Those are
fine.
the rules of the leadership of the followers of Jesus who were led by James, who was the family of Jesus.
Now, would you like to see where Peter also gets himself involved with Gentile conversion?
Peter's not the leader. James is.
Oh, you think
James is the
James is?
leader. James is
Okay,
the leader
so
of the
where
Council
are
of
you getting?
Jerusalem. James is the leader of the church. There is no ambiguity by any
Really?
Christian
Okay,
understanding or theologian.
I'm gonna say you're incorrect.
You're
Based
making
on
stuff
the
up now.
verses, I think we're Acts 15.
What'd you
I
say?
think we're in Acts. I
Who's
think
the
we're in
speaker
Acts
in Acts 15? Who's the speaker in Acts 15? Oh, brethren. Who's the one that's talking?
15. Okay, I'll
James.
grab my Bible. I'll grab my Bible and we can look at it. But I believe that you're speaking about James is speaking at a certain point, but he's speaking about Peter because if you look at
No,
a
Peter
couple of
gives
verses.
testimony. Peter
Okay.
gives testimony. James gives the ruling because James is the
Okay.
leader.
Ooh. All right. We'll see. I'll go get my. Let me get it up. I'll go get my stuff.
Man,
By
this
the way,
thing,
just so
We're
we're
talking
clear,
about 15.
just so we're
So
clear,
we're talking.
if Peter,
Yeah.
why would Peter invalidate the 4 rules that were dictated by the Council of Jerusalem for non-Jews?
Peter didn't invalidate anything. As a matter of fact, he actually solidifies something that's in the Old Testament. Let me pull it up real quick, if I can.
hey, Visit, I want to
see it.
ask you a question. Are you a lover of 1776?
Who's this?
This is a person asking a question. Are you a lover of the 1776 movement? Are you a 13 stars kind of guy?
I'm not a historian kind of guy.
You a MAGA kind of guy?
But if you,
Are you
for
a MAGA
example, my
kind of
friend.
guy?
Okay, hold on. Let me just pull it up. Okay, so if you look at Acts 15, right, and 15
Brother,
and 15.
before you read Acts 15, I do have a general question. Are you one of those who follow the
I
South
won't read.
Galatian view? Do you follow the South Galatian
Uh,
view?
sir, just I'm not gonna look. The person who owns the channel knows what I subscribe to, but let's just pass that because sometimes we have a problem when we understand where people from and we try to goes on read. But I don't want to. I just show that
You're breaking up a
in
little bit.
15.
Brian, you're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up wherever you're at. You're in and out.
Yeah. So 15. You hear
Sure.
me?
Acts 15, yep.
Okay. Yeah. And then if you
Oh, where'd he go? Guess he fell off.
Convenient.
He dropped off.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's kind of difficult to, esteem it yourself around certain people because it's no reason for anybody to just question. If the host of the channel knows you, then I'm certain that the host of the channel understands us. And if this is a conversation or a topic, it's cool to stay in the chat or comment. But when it comes down to jumping on the panel just to disagree, don't nobody got time for that, man. Especially when you can't answer any questions that like deep dive into who you are, man. Tell us more than what you're trying to display. Let us get a backstory on why you feel these ways. And then also let me know what other groups you tied to, because those groups are definitely gonna keep you from being in the conversation with me because you can't serve but one master.
Yeah.
So if you a Magite, if you a 13 circle stars, if you a 1776er, these people have inherently the same ideology, and it's more platforms for him to go and embrace his brethren than there are for him to go and find his enemy, because his enemy has been scattered abroad, and all he can stick to is what he knows, English channels. Go and find somebody in Saudi Arabia that look like me and say the same things.
Yeah,
Go find people amongst the world on the World Wide Web. Don't come to a local joker and be like, no, let me tell you, it's one thing for us to have served you guys for 400 years, but it is a bigoted attitude to tell us that we need to do more to please you, when that ain't the goal. And if you claim that you ain't did nothing, stop doing that. Stop requesting me to do anything in your favor or request, because I didn't go to DHS. I didn't go to any of these government places to celebrate with my people. I came to my people to celebrate with my people. Where shall we find peace?
Again, I agree with you, William. My thing is, I think you were right asking the questions, where were you or whatever, so you can find out his understanding. My question about the whole South Galatian view is, that's the argument that books like Romans, Galatians, and Corinthians were written before the Council of Jerusalem, and they were spanking Paul on the hands because of what he said in terms of how some of his writings, which are confusing, like Peter says, could seem to say that Jews don't have to keep the law. And that, when you get to Acts 21, is him shutting up and getting his discipline by the leadership, which is James, and James saying, now you got to take a vow so everybody know that when you said that stuff back in Galatians, you didn't mean it the way it sounded. I ain't even going to say to nobody it's wrong. I'm just going to say, when you said it, it was confusing, and we're going to move on. You take this vow and we're going to move on like brothers. And that's and so the South Galatian view is the view that does that. If you do a North Galatian view, you're like, oh, well, Paul was saying the Jews, or the, they got to break the law. They got to stop the law. It's a totally different thing. But so I was surprised. I wanted him to either say, I don't know what the South Galatian view is, or I wanted him to say, yeah, I'm a North Galatian.
Wow, that was excellent by both of y'all. Excellent. And by the way, he's a Roman Catholic.
Oh, okay.
I did him a favor. Yeah, he's a Roman Catholic. I did him a favor by coming on here. I was hesitant. I really didn't want him to come on, because I'm getting tired. I'm falling off.
Yeah.
And I just had a feeling he was going to take it off topic, and that's what he did. He was trying to go off topic and ask a bunch of questions, just
so
like
Roman
Johan
Catholic
was referencing.
Yeah, so Roman
Catholic.
Yeah, so they're North Galatians. Roman Catholics follow North Galatians. However, Roman Catholics are supposed to believe, as of 2015, as an article of faith, as a secondary rule of Vatican II, that Hebrew Israelites and Jews are supposed to keep the commandments of God, and they're honored with the commandments of God, and their salvation for keeping the commandments of God. And it's a mystery that they don't understand how it works. That's the official stance that's supposed to be of their religion. So his questions or his approach, maybe he don't know that.
Hey, Jaden, man, hey, I ain't gonna keep you, because I know that you know what I mean. I respect the fact that you got a life and you gotta get to things just like everybody else. So I ain't gonna stay long. But it's crazy. The dream from Nebuchadnezzar, right? How come they don't understand that America looks just like the clay in Potter's feet? Like, it's a whole bunch of pieces added into this clay to get the foundation that they got. Why don't they see exactly where we are in scripture and what they are doing to who they are doing it to? That's crazy that they can understand so much in scripture but can't understand. Like I said, do people understand what a mirror is? These scriptures are showing themselves like high beams on a new car. I'm talking about, I'm blind when they got the low beams on, but to hit the high beams, I'm like, man, I'm about to run into a tree. So, man, hey, Joseph, Jaden, all of Israel, bless you guys, man. Bless you guys, and that's sincerity.
Let's go ahead and sign off. Let's go ahead and sign off. So yeah,
I
Uyaham, go
can't,
ahead and give your closing, and then Joseph, go ahead and give your closing, and then we out here.
man, I can't even wait for you to go on another live stream. Like, I don't plan on jumping on every panel with you, man, because I want to let your platform flourish. I want it to grow. I want all of Israel to come together. And if it come together with Jaden, hey, y'all better come together with Jaden. If it come together with another channel, hey, let's click up, let's link up, let's support each other, let's show each other some love. Hey, let's do this the right way, because out of everything it takes to be Israel, we have to understand that we made some mistakes before, and those mistakes are very detrimental to what we do moving forward. So if we can praise the Father, hallelujah. Man, Jaden, hey, northyardking@yahoo.com. Man, shoot me an email. Anybody can shoot me an email, man. I just want to, you know what I mean? Constant communication is amazing. You know what I mean? And some of these ideas and things that we can, you know what I'm saying, bounce around and throw around. Like I said, hey, I'm impressed with what I've been seeing, even if the numbers ain't got you like, man, I'm at the top of the list. That's good. You don't supposed to be at the top of the list because, you know what I mean, all of the things that was written. But hey, until the next time, fam, everybody, much love, much respect, peace and blessings, and keep doing what we're doing, Israel. Stick to Torah.
All praises, all praises. Let me go ahead and type in my email. Here's my email. Uyaham, go ahead and hit me on my email. I typed it in wrong. Let me go ahead and put it in there again.
I got you.
JadenBenIsrael@gmail.com. Yeah, it'd be tough in these YouTube streets. I just got monetized, but I tell you, I'm still on the struggle bus. It's hard on YouTube, but I love the challenge. I love it. And I love the assignment that Yah is giving us. It's giving us assignments. So I love the challenge.
And that's all I was going to say. I just think that, all praise to the Most High, and that we should continue to patronize, do Patreon, and continue to help monetize brothers like Brother Jaden Israel, because the message is out there. There's brothers coming with the truth, like Brother Jaden Israel. We got to boost that up. We got to keep increasing the numbers and those and people who are willing to dive in, like Brother Jaden Israel, and through like actual conversations, actual dialogue, and so forth, and actually just get the truth. And this brother has a genuine love for the people and nation of Israel, and he's about actually learning and growing and building and educating, And so, I mean, that's the type of thing that we need to support. That we need to rack up these YouTube numbers on. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Wow. Thank you. I appreciate both of you. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. All glory, all praises, all kavod to our Creator. On those powerful high notes, we out here. That's Uyaham. That's Yosef. I'm Jaden Israel. Until next time, shalom, fam.
Shalom.